that the people who are sane lost the culture wars. I remember
Mhm.
when woke just meant you had your eyes open to how evil and corrupt, our
Mhm.
government and overall society is. And now it just means if you put a gay character in a movie, that means the movie's woke, which
Yeah.
it means nothing.
No, it doesn't. They totally hijacked that term because you're
Yeah,
right. I think before 2016 or 2017, I would consider myself that, but I thought I would say awakened or awoke or
right.
that I can see the corruption and all that stuff, but they completely hijacked it
Yeah.
and made it that you're a commie. Like, how did that happen?
Right. Well, the powers that be have been doing this for a long time. We've talked about it on the show before. The
Yeah,
term conspiracy theorist is, you throw that at people to put dirt on them.
yeah,
Whereas all that means is you don't believe the official story. The term conspiracy theorist, as you know, and as I'm sure we've mentioned, comes from the JFK assassination.
yeah. That's where
People
it comes
didn't
from.
believe the official story, and they
Yeah,
got deemed conspiracy theorists, and that was just
exactly.
code for them. Oh, you don't have to listen to these people.
It was the Warren Commission, right? When
Yep.
when the report came out, like many people were, calling it BS, which it was, or a cover up, and like, oh, they're conspiracy theorists or the conspiracy theorists, and it works like a charm.
Yep. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. You just immediately can write those people off. A fun fact about the JFK assassination. Okay, Woody Harrelson, the actor, his
yeah,
dad is a convicted hitman,
you're
and
kidding.
no, I'm not. He's
Woody
in,
Harrelson's dad is a hitman.
yes, that is. He's convicted. He's in prison or he's dead. I don't know, but he took
Okay, for
he
what, the
took
mob or the government?
I think it was the mob, but he took credit for the JFK assassination multiple
What?
times. Yeah, no,
You're
I'm dead serious.
kidding me.
No, no, no. Look it up if you don't believe me. That's completely true.
All right, yeah, no, I believe you. That's crazy. So
Yeah.
like, he's one of the guys. Um,
Supposedly, I mean, a lot of people took
Supposedly.
credit for the JFK assassination.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. E. Howard Hunt, and then I mean, did you see that Danny Sheehan interview? He talks so much about the JFK assassination and guys that he deposed, and that was one crazy interview.
Yeah.
That happened this week. So much happened this week. So much, like too much happens in a week now.
Yeah, I know.
I
We gotta
mean,
start doing the podcast like twice a week, Wednesdays and Sundays.
well, we'll charge for that one. How about that? There's
You're
got to be a
perfect.
way to monetize it.
We're making so much money now. People will be
I
happy to
know.
hand over their money for Wednesday shows.
We'll have zero, absolutely zero watching that second show, right?
Yeah.
What is that? What is that movie where he's like 0.0? Is that Animal? No. Anyway, all right. So I guess we should get started, right? Because we got a lot to get to.
We
Oh,
should.
this is
And
episode 60,
this
cuz,
is
and our
episode 60
yeah,
of the Uncovering Anomalies podcast.
we're getting up
Uh,
there in the age.
Joining me as always is I want to believe Adam,
Hey, everyone, I'm gonna
and
change my picture. Yeah.
and I am Topher 2x4.
So tell us, why is it 2x4 today?
Okay, so I thought I was really clever. So two kind of sounds like
Mhm.
toe, and
Ah.
four sounds
Uh-huh,
like
uh-huh. I get
fur.
it. Yes.
Yeah, twofer, Topher.
Got it. I like that. No, it works. Sorry, I didn't see it until you pointed it out. But once you pointed it out, it's really obvious.
It took me
Um,
14 days to come up with this.
did it really?
No,
Oh,
no,
okay.
it took it about 5 minutes ago when you said almost there. I was like,
Uh,
all right, what's a good nickname? Perfect,
oh,
nailed it.
okay. That was exactly 6 minutes, I think.
Okay, all
But
right. Well,
but
six
now
minutes.
I'm really jealous of your profile picture. I'm going to work on updating mine because
Yeah,
yours look really sick.
I've got a whole bunch of them. I sent you that post from that subreddit from GPT,
Yeah.
and there was a bunch of really really funny posts, and this was from one of them.
Dude, it's so cool.
I
Yeah.
love
Oh,
that.
those. I love it. Yeah. Well, I hope we'll get to those. I have
Yeah.
them queued up. Oh,
Okay,
it's so
great.
funny. Oh, they're so funny.
So funny. But
Well,
yeah,
I don't
let's.
mean to start out on something like on something negative or depressing, but
It's all depressing, man. We live in a
well,
post happy world.
post happy world, PHW. Um, Mr. Assange is up on it's his final court case, right? If he's going to be extradited to the United States,
Yeah,
and
it's gonna
I
be
just
good.
yeah, and
Unfortunately.
it's gonna be so his story is so sad. But here's a clip of him talking about what's going on. This is a long time ago too.
I was gonna
So
ask
I just
when this was.
yeah, it looks like it was early 2010s, maybe, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Here, can I? Is it on here?
Just hit that watch
No,
again
it's
button
not.
right
But
in the
yeah,
middle.
let's listen to it. Maybe someone.
There is no society anymore. What there is a transnational security elite that is busy carving up the world using your tax money. To combat that elite, we must not petition. We must take it over. We must form our own networks of strength and mutual value, which can challenge those strengths and self-interested values of the warmongers in this country and in others that have formed hand in hand an alliance to take money from the United States, from every NATO country, from Australia, and launder it through Afghanistan, launder it through Iraq, launder it through Somalia, launder it through Yemen, launder it through Pakistan, and wash that money in people's blood.
Ouch.
It's too bad he got accused of. Hold on here. Let me check my notes. Going against the Democratic Party, and let me keep going. Accused of supporting Russia. Wow.
Yes.
What a
Yeah.
terrible human being.
Yeah, and exposing war crimes. Yeah. What a
Yeah,
terrible guy. What a
just
terrible guy.
just horrible. Thank God the U.S. Justice system is just gonna.
And you know what's crazy? Remember Trump used to act like he helped get Trump elected, right? Because of the Hillary
Right.
wiki files and all that, right?
That was
Um,
when this whole backlash against him started, because
yeah.
up until then,
But Trump is the one who indicted it was in the Trump administration that Pompeo went
yeah,
after him legally. So he helped him get in there and then they went after him. This is not it's crazy.
yeah, it's really sad. They're just our with our current, what am I trying to say? Not administrator, our current, just like how the
Class or
yeah our
or
current
system, yeah.
the current people in the current system, yeah, just goes against people like this. I mean, you
Right.
look at stuff like this and the Panama Papers. All these people are doing are exposing the crimes of the rich and powerful, and what happens to them? They get killed
Yeah.
or
Yeah,
imprisoned.
exactly.
You know,
It's insane, man. And he's like he what do you call it? A transnational security elite,
yeah,
And there's so many words for it. But it all comes to the same thing. It's group of people that are transnational, that are extremely powerful, that work in secrecy but use our dollars for power and profit,
yeah.
and it goes back to the same group. And you sent me this with Luna, though. She got interviewed by
Hmm.
this guy. What's the show called? Do they say the Grant
I think it's just called the Grant
the
Mint Show, isn't
Giant?
it?
Oh, the Grant Mid Show. So he asked Luna, Representative Luna, what she thinks about UAPs. Um, oh my god!
Yeah.
Because
But
she
I mean,
does say that.
we've talked about the whole. So basically,
Huh?
and something you pointed out to me, she's, or you said to me, is she's very
Mm,
she's got strong Christian values, and
yeah, or she says so. Yeah,
yeah, but we've brought up on the show before, the whole interdimensional theory, and that's kind of where she lands on it. But
right.
it might be just based on her beliefs,
Yeah, and I think
because
because
it doesn't
yeah,
technically break the religion.
yeah, exactly right. In the Bible, there's humans, demons, and angels. Right.
Yep.
That's it. There's nothing else. There's no space for anything else. So that's why I think, yeah, when she says see it through a Christian lens, interdimensional works for her and doesn't break those rules. So yeah,
Yeah. Exactly.
I think she talks about other things here, but yeah, Men in Black.
Briefly talk. tell me about your own. You've heard about the UAPs, UFOs.
Yeah.
So what? Okay, tell us about that.
So I got Men in Blacked. I know a lot of people are going to be like, that's crazy. But ultimately what happened is, being a member of oversight, we follow up with whistleblowers, and we also can conduct our own investigation. So myself, Representative Burchett from Tennessee, and Representative Gates were on a small codel to the Panhandle because a whistleblower came forward from Eglin Air Force Base.
Those are all new members of Congress, right? By the way, all three of them. Well, I mean, Gates kind of, but still, like, he hasn't been there for like a decade or anything. She's new, and so is Burchett.
And if she truly got Men in Black, she wouldn't be able to speak or even alive or existing anymore.
Right. As we know from those stories, she wouldn't even be speaking. She would have had it, you know.
She got spoken to.
Terrified.
She got spoken to probably harshly by men in black suits, and that's what she's referring to.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Oh, you can't do that kind of thing. And she does say that here.
Pilots to Representative Gates' office, saying that the Air Force was essentially covering up UAP activity, and we needed to look into it. So we coordinated the meeting. Pentagon tried to initially cancel the first one. We got it back on the books. We show up there, and we get in, and the base commander tried to basically tell us that we didn't have authorized clearance to look into and speak to some of the witnesses, of which you don't tell Congress that we don't have the authorized clearance, especially members of House Armed Services, Oversight, and Judiciary. So I kind of had it out with the base commander, which is kind of funny because this guy really thought that he had it going on. And he actually, in the middle of our meeting, he took off on leave.
He really thought that he had it going on, is what she said.
Good for her, putting her boots on, her brass knuckles on, and really taking it to that base commander.
Yeah, she said that he probably couldn't handle it so much. Yeah, she said that he took off, like he took a vacation. He's like, man, I'm gonna land myself in prison. I'm just not gonna show up to work.
I wish I could do that.
Shows up. Just not show up to a meeting, like, you know, I can't stand that client, or, you know, always butt heads. I'm just not gonna go to that meeting anymore.
Yeah, except mine would be, you know, this is really boring. We don't get a lot of stuff done here. There's no point for meeting for 45 minutes or an hour, so I'm just not going to show up.
You know what's really funny about that? I'm sure many people have the same conclusion, though, but I got to that conclusion also, is that if I wanted to get work done, this is when I went to an office, like an you know, official office. If I wanted to like get a document done, or, you know, create something, or, you know, produce something, I would have to stay home, because it was always meetings or someone just walking into my office, you know, or just something. I don't know, like, it was too many distractions in the office. That was just my experience.
I totally get that. Unfortunately, the nature of my job means I can't work from home. But honestly, I wouldn't really want to do that, just because I feel like I would get nothing done.
And the nature, right?
And just it's nice to leave, you know, the place of where you live once in a while.
Of course, yeah, no, definitely agree. All right, so let's continue here.
Which never happens with a delegation going to military base. But then also too, we had, pretty sure, people from the agency that were there as well. And so you really don't find that. I've worked at Hurlburt Field. I worked in the military for a number of years. And so why would a intelligence agency need to be there on a meeting for whistleblowers? So that happened. I can tell you, based on my investigations, not in a classified setting, that I absolutely believe that there is things that are advanced technologies not of human origin. And then we conducted the interview with David Grush. As you saw, it was one of the most widely attended congressional hearings in U.S. history. The information that was brought forward was particularly alarming, because you're hearing about people that have potentially been murdered and covering up this information. And it was very interesting. So I advise everyone to watch it.
Yeah. Was it, so based off what, and have you received classified information or just what they said?
No, yeah, we've, but I can't talk about that.
Of course you can't talk about it. So what did you, before you came to Congress, did you think aliens were real?
So I wouldn't call them aliens. I really like what Grush calls them. He says that they're interdimensional beings, and he's very specific about that. What does that mean? I think it means that they're not.
Well, he didn't say that they're not aliens. He said he just didn't want to put a label on it, because there's many other things. So interdimensional could be a thing. So, you know, what she's saying is not 100% true, though. She's just focusing on that.
Right.
Necessarily a biological entity from another planet per se.
Interesting.
What I will say is, I share a Christian perspective on many things. And what's been interesting about this is the amount of stigma that existed previously to this cycle. But we have such a bipartisan push for transparency on this topic that they can't necessarily hide it. It has been interesting to see the levels of things that come up. Oh, there's no authorized clearance. You don't have the read-in authority for this, that, and the other. Well, if Congress is writing the bills to fund these programs, yet we don't have authorized access and oversight into it, then that's not necessarily something that happens in a free country, right? So we continue to push. But I mean, it's been very interesting to see some of the stuff that's come up.
Was it before you learned it, or did you think it was going to be completely different than what you learned? Was it
No, I had some suspicions leading up.
He's got a cool setup there, huh? He just shows up.
Yeah, I'm actually. I was just checking that out. I mean, so he walked into this person's office, and she's got one too. So that means he had to set up 2 microphones.
Yeah.
And
They're hooked up.
The camera, I was watching the camera work, and it's like panning in a really weird way.
It's panning. Yes, I was going to say that too. So he's got one of those cameras that just pans.
Yeah, I was wondering. Yeah, it must be automated. Very interesting.
Very cool. I mean,
but yeah, no, I mean, I love the interdimensional stuff. Obviously, this is Reddit, so the comments are absolute horseshit. I like Reddit for the posts and the stuff that gets posted, but the comment section is completely worthless. It's just like YouTube or any other social media site.
Yeah, it's always a joke. Always a joke. Or at least that's what gets pushed up because people just think that's funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, interdimensional makes sense, especially from that perspective. So it's not demonic, because the thing is, there is a lot of, or in the literature, there's a lot of, especially with abductions, that if you want the abduction to stop, then, either pray to Jesus or pray to God, like that. For some reason that works. Now, doesn't that mean it could be demonic, or it could mean that's just in another realm, I guess?
Or, or angels and demons from the Bible are just aliens that were misinterpreted at the time because there's no context.
Definitely that too.
You get visited by some sort of thing that is made up of eyeballs and wings, which is what biblical angels look like.
Yeah.
And you go, oh, this is, and it's telling me what to do. Like, oh, this is an angel. Yeah. Okay. You write it down. It ends up in a book thousands of years later. But maybe it was an alien,
Yeah, I guess that's why non-human intelligent works though. But why do you think, like, when an abduction happens, if some certain prayers are said, it ends or it stops?
Yeah, I mean, that definitely brings something into it.
Do you think I was thinking about this last week, and I'm like, a lot of that is paralysis, right? Or the person can't do anything. What if the invoking of that type of language doesn't stop them, but it gets you out of the paralysis, which then stops their control? You know what I mean? Like, it's something where it breaks that.
Sure,
spell they have.
It very well could. The way my mind thinks of it is, if you are in an abduction scenario and you start praying to, your God, the aliens go, okay, we don't want this one because they believe in something that we can't understand, so we can't use them for our, whatever their purposes may be.
Yeah. So it's multifaceted too.
Yeah.
So this is from the Roswell Daily Record. So you can, always count them to have cool articles.
Roswell. Anything interesting happened there?
I don't know. But their news and their articles that come out of there is indicative that something did happen there.
Oh, okay.
They like talking about crashes, and black budget programs.
Other stuff like this: black budget programs, foreign adversaries, and misidentified objects cannot explain all UAP.
Yeah, and exactly, right.
Absolutely.
That's a great point. It's not everything. Like, you can say that, it's our technology, it's adversaries.
I mean, it's just like, every time you send a UFO clip to me, I always send the same thing back. I go, oh, that's a balloon, as a joke. I'm being facetious, but it's just like that. I mean, not everything can be a balloon. Not everything can be,
a
black
drone.
budget, a drone. Right. Exactly.
I think, this is here. Skeptics often argue that the government could not feasibly keep extraterrestrial encounters or the existence of NHI secret, However, this argument falls short when considering the equally extraordinary challenge of concealing the U.S. government's development of advanced machines mistakenly identified as UAP.
Yeah, I mean that's such a dumb argument to me. I mean, look at the NSA. People for many years suspected that they were spying on U.S. citizens, and then Snowden came out and said, "Yes, that's the case." But
Right.
they did keep that secret for a very, very long time.
Yeah, they did. It was just rumors, and people were just guessing that it's going on. Exactly. People know. That's the thing. Like, we need to trust
Yeah,
when other people have hunches and then look for evidence and find third evidence without official admission. Why is everyone always looking for that? For official admission,
right. Well, another thing is, why do people like Snowden come out and tell us NSA is spying on us, and people get outraged. But when
Yeah.
people come out and say, "Hey, the government's hiding UFOs," people go, "Oh no, that person's a crackpot. They're lying." Like you can't have it both ways.
It's crazy how this is the one that people just can't believe in, even the ones that see through it. So that saw through COVID, that see through 9/11, that see through many other things. Go with this one like, nah, it's a psyop, man. Yeah, I mean there are elements of it as a psyop, but I keep saying this. I think is that the psyop is that it doesn't exist, right?
You know what I think it is I think we've been bombarded. We as in the American people,
Yeah.
have been bombarded with science fiction movies, television, books, yada yada yada,
Yeah.
art about UFOs and aliens. And so when it turns out to be real, people go, "Oh no, this is just like that movie. This is just like that other thing," and so they go, "Oh, this can't be real." Because when you look back at the other conspiracies that have been unveiled over the years, there hasn't been this huge media push of fiction behind it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean,
There's
no,
not
there
there's
hasn't.
not 1,000 movies about the government spying on its
No,
people and the
there isn't.
repercussions of it. I mean, sure, there's a few, but there's not as many as there are movies about aliens and UFOs.
And most of the mainstream media now went back to saying this is all fake. There's nothing
Yeah.
there. Don't worry about it. It's impossible. It's most likely drones or China or Russia.
It's a balloon.
Oh yeah, and balloons. They're totally back into doing that, and aggressively too.
Yeah.
This came out in what is it, the Pakistan Defense. So this is their intelligence or something.
Yeah. Where did you find this? I don't remember reading this.
I mean, this was on Twitter, and the guy's like, "What?" And it goes, "Hello, please let me know about the following future event." Wait, this was February 23rd, so 2 days ago, 2024. Oh wait, so it's on a forum. Congress. Oh,
Hold on, please. Yeah. Please let me know about the following future event, especially in light of revelations by the whistleblower David Grush about UAPs and a U.S. Congress hearing on July 23, and subsequent related developments that took place. An invasion by an ET group or faction is happening in the future. Russia knows, U.S. knows, and others know. Russia and others are preparing for this by placing nuclear weapons in space. Humanity is being helped by another, quote, in parentheses, interdimensional non-human intelligence faction to get its act together and prepare for the invasion. The gifts are in form of craft, which are being reverse engineered and are part of this support. Countries like the U.S. have the craft, but they don't have the keys. The keys are certain humans who have been modified, for lack of a better term, by the benevolent aliens to operate the craft. These humans are sometimes known as experiencers. Experiencers will have other roles to play too in the incoming war. In fact, every soul will have a unique role to play, just not experiencers. Actually, that's one thing that is very common amongst abductees is they're taught how to perform machinery, like how to work machinery properly, even though they don't understand the meaning of it, and they're always told, "Oh, you'll know how to do this when the time comes. You'll know how to do
Interesting. Yeah, nice one.
Yeah. All this has to be done carefully and quietly, hence the frustratingly slow disclosure, as to not prompt the invading faction to accelerate. So there's a space war going on, and we're caught in the middle of it. However, a careless maneuver by Russia like this, placing nuclear weapons in space, complicates stuff. This invasion is a culmination of a temporal war in which humans are also involved, that has been documented in different religions and cultures. The world wars are also part of the quote unquote, not quote unquote, bigger war.
Yeah. In caps, yeah. Interesting, huh? I mean, it is like some just
it
anonymous
fits.
guy.
It fits in the
Hmm.
everything we know about abductees and what they experience. or
Right, and then this
experiencers,
interdimensional thing
Yeah.
that it's helping us, right, for this incoming. They're saying an incoming invasion, and that the UFOs we've been seeing and the crashed whatever and the gifts that we've been seeing are to help us get ready for this invasion. Very interesting. That kind of reminds me of Ender's Game in a way, like that type of thinking.
Yeah, I mean this is very science
Sci-fi.
fiction. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Speaking of sci-fi,
Oh hell yeah.
And people were
this is Dr. John Brandenburg. If you don't know who he is, he's the one that's done the scientific study on that a nuke was definitely detonated on Mars because he found the xenon or something. He found which is
Like an
which is
element.
an element exactly that only shows up when you've had nukes in the atmosphere.
Interesting.
Yes, but he comes on here and he talks about that disclosure is a hostile act. Is this correct? Wait a minute. Let me just make sure it's on the right. I think this is right.
read. And people were seeing canals on Mars, what they thought were canals. So they thought Mars might be the abode of intelligence. All of that was common knowledge in the culture of any educated person in this country or in Europe. So the big picture is the US government has known since even before World War II, they were being watched.
Being watched?
And at Roswell, most people are not aware of this, but people don't know what was stored at Roswell. All of the nuclear weapons on Earth were stored at Roswell in 1947.
Yeah.
With B-29 bombers to carry them. All 5 nuclear weapons on Earth were stored there after World War II. And the gray aliens apparently didn't lose just one ship over Roswell. They lost 2 in the same night. Apparently, it was a shoot-down incident. The government had night fighters patrolling over Roswell. The night fighters, by the way, were P-61 Black Widows. World War II night fighter, twin-engine fighter, had 4 50 caliber machine guns in its roof turret and 4 20-millimeter cannons in the base. It had enormous firepower, had a big radar dish in the nose that was made of fiberglass, which was considered a wonder material. They were based out of Kirtland Air Force Base in Albuquerque. And they were apparently doing combat air patrol over Roswell at night. We had jet fighters, but none of them could fly at night at the time in 1947. And one of the craft crashed near Roswell, and the other one limped along and crashed near Socorro. It was apparently tracked down by radar. The government was there immediately to recover it. They didn't even know about the one that had crashed near Roswell until later, till the rancher brought in the pieces. And they rewarded him by buying him a new truck, apparently, and telling him not to talk about it.
He showed up. Yeah, he showed up in town. He disappeared for a few days.
Shut up, and here's the keys to your new truck.
Yeah.
So the big picture is that the reason the aliens are so interested in nuclear weapons is because they fear them.
Mm-hmm.
Nuclear weapons are basically the same cost.
Yeah, and right, it makes sense that all of the nuclear weapons on the planet, all 5 of them, were located in Roswell. Hence the interest in these things.
Hell yeah, America.
I know, right?
Yeah, I mean
that's why these things were happening here, because we were the ones doing all that.
Yeah, I mean,
then.
Regardless of what the official story is, I mean that's a hell of a coincidence that all the all the nuclear weapons on Earth were located right where a UFO crashed. I mean,
yeah, that's right. I don't think I have it queued up, but this just came out. It was yesterday. Anyway, these declassified movies of Operation Fishbowl was, us.
Yeah, you sent that
nukes. Oh, okay. So it might be then, or maybe I didn't. Maybe I skipped over it. Damn it. But yeah, so that one has its video that shows in the atmosphere, us exploding nukes in the atmosphere,
Mhm.
and these UFOs just falling. And so many of the Kingman UFO, 1953, Arizona, was that. We had Upshot Knot Hole in Nevada, that experiment. Right after that, boom, it crashes in Arizona.
I mean, it would make a lot of sense as to why aliens seem to be so interested in nuclear stuff. If we shot down, one of their craft, even
Yeah.
if it was an accident,
Right.
with a nuclear weapon.
And they're like, stop. It's
Like
like,
if you go to a zoo and the monkey picks up a stick and beats one of the zoo handlers to death, you'd be like, okay, let's keep the sticks away from those monkeys. That's kind of
right.
we should
Right,
look out
yeah.
for that.
And that's when you'll pay attention also, right? Is when that happens.
Yeah,
Other than that, you
exactly.
really don't care.
Right, you'd just be like, okay, this is a zoo. There's the
Right.
elephants, there's the anteaters. Oh, hey, look, this monkey's got a stick.
Yeah.
That's what draws your interest for sure.
Yeah, and that's why I think the Holloman Air Force Base event happened. They came down, they're like, all right, listen, you guys need to stop doing this.
Yeah.
Let's agree to something or something like that. I mean, who knows? We're not in there, but this is what we can see from the research,
Mhm.
and from all this. So I think here he's going to say that they like disclosure, is what he's saying, that the Greys actually want disclosure, and that don't want disclosure, and that a disclosure is a hostile action from the government,
Right.
is what he's saying.
Cosmic power that powers supernovas. I mean, other than making a planet into a black hole, there's not much anything worse. You don't need to make a planet into a black hole to destroy it. All you need to do is a big nuclear weapon, it'll destroy it, as happened on Mars. So the big picture is that we are apparently in a strategic region of the galaxy and the local interstellar neighborhood. That's why we are visited by so many different species. That's why we are so much a focus of attention to all these people. And that's what also guarantees it deters any one power trying to take over. So then, if you are in a situation like that and you're one of these hostile powers, what do you try and do? So let's say you have your own equivalent of Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu says the best way to win a war is without any fighting whatsoever,
Right.
not a shot being fired. Approach a walled city, don't bring up catapults and dig a big siege. That's expensive. That takes a long time. You have this army encamped around a long siege. Plague breaks out in the city. They toss corpses from the city out of the city. It spreads to the camp. You have Black Plague raging in the camp. And Sun Tzu was writing also about medieval China. One of the reasons the Chinese are so big into psychological tactics is they're so vulnerable.
Anyway, so yeah, I mean, he says that they think it's a hostile action if the government allows disclosure. So it could be part of the agreement that, and there's always been rumors of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let us do what we want, and we'll give you technology or help you with advances in technology.
Man, humans developed Wi-Fi in the laziest way possible. Let aliens give it to us. That's so on brand.
Let aliens give it to us. Yeah, Wi-Fi. But definitely chips.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, when it comes to radio, we've been pretty good. I think Tesla understood wireless so well. So did Marconi. And then yeah, I mean, our radios, it is something that they couldn't predict. Even a species more advanced than us.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if the monkeys in the zoo stacked a bunch of rocks together and were able to make a device that they could talk to monkeys across the zoo. It'd be pretty cool. You'd be freaked out by it. You'd be like, "Oh my god, that wasn't supposed to happen."
They're talking to each other. Yeah. Wait a minute, they're planning. I never continued the Planet of the Apes movies. Are they good? The new ones?
What's funny? Me being the movie guy, I haven't seen any of them.
None of them. The first one is great. I loved it.
I heard they're decent. I saw the trailer for the new one that's coming out. But I don't know. Planet of the Apes. I saw the one with Mark Wahlberg back in like 2001, 2002, and it was horrible.
It was horrible.
But that's the only one I've seen. But I do know the ending of
one.
So
you didn't see the old one from the 60s?
No, I know the one where the ending is he comes across a Statue of Liberty. You blew it all up, you damn dirty apes. I know that. I like
Yeah.
I get the reference, but I've never seen it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the first one's nice. So I wonder if the other ones are good. Definitely worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
NPI, which is New Paradigm Institute, Citizens for Disclosure, a grassroots UAP transparency initiative. This is Danny Sheehan, who's been making the rounds these days. Did an amazing interview with Danny Jones. But I shared this with you, and they even have courses you can get. And the reason why they want you to get certified is that if you're going to be an activist, they want to make sure you have all the right information, all the right talking points, which is pretty smart. I mean,
Yeah,
he's obviously well funded, right?
you'd have
And
to do something like this.
yeah, so he was the one. He had a big role in drafting up the UAP Disclosure Act. And that's why when it was gutted like this, he got so upset. He goes, all right, fine. We'll just do it another way. So his other way now is grassroots, starting at the local level and working the way up, changing the local politics, getting activists locally.
It's the only way to do it nowadays. Because we all know our government doesn't do shit for us.
No,
unless they're absolutely forced. And even then, they don't do it right.
Yeah. And it's because it passed Congress, it passed Senate. Apparently, the president was ready to sign it, and then once it reached the Gang of Eight, they just got rid of all that. Yeah,
I mean, gutted it real good.
They did get it really good. But the good news is that there's still stuff coming out now in the archives. It might not be perfect, but it's still info coming out, right?
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. It's better than what we've been getting the last 60 years.
Yeah, and people will still ignore it. Probably say, "Oh, that's probably fake anyway."
Yeah.
So, just to continue to his interview, and I don't even know. There are so many places here and things that he says. We'll just try our luck, maybe, to see if we. So here, I think he talks about how he started, and to be open, Sheehan he might still be. He was the general counsel for the Jesuit order.
Oh boy.
There's many experiences about them. Yeah, I know that they secretly rule the world. Well, obviously, if they don't know the answer to this, and they hired him to go find out what this is all about, this is years ago. And if he still hasn't got an answer to give to them, this must be a really, really, insanely guarded secret if the Jesuits don't know, right?
Of the Congressional Research Service of the Library of Congress. And she called me and asked me if I would be special counsel to the investigation, the research, initially to see if we could get the Vatican, because I was at Jesuit headquarters, to see if we could get the Vatican to agree to allow us to have access to the archives of whatever information they had on UFOs and the ET phenomenon. And so that's how I got involved in it back in the early spring of 1977.
What made you guys want to go to the Vatican?
Well, they wanted to go to the Vatican because they thought that, given the fact that there's 2,000 years almost of records that have been kept there, they thought that they suspected that there may be information in the Vatican archives.
And I'm sure he's right? Even Pasulka talks about this in her books and American Cosmic, that she went in there and she looked at them. People say even is that called the Fatima event? In Portugal.
Yeah, yes, I think so.
Yeah, so that apparently had aliens in it, and that's why they keep that secret. So he says some crazy stuff here. John Mack. Oh, John Mack was the Harvard.
Right. I was going to say I recognize the name. I can't place him at the moment.
Yeah, he was the Harvard abduction. Like he was, I think he was the head of the Harvard psychology department, like really respected. And then when he went into studying alien abductions, they tried to
discredit him.
Yeah. And they tried to get him off the board as a director and stuff like that. And
always, even at the highest levels of our education system, you have to be with the program or you're out.
Yeah. And how dare you do research like that?
Can't go against
try
the
to
message.
find out the truth. No. You
He'd
can.
come
ask
to a number of my lectures on the Iran-Contra case and the Karen Silkwood case and 3 Mile Island case and other cases that we had done. And so he was kind of a follower of the Christic Institute at the time. So he called me and asked me to come and see him, and then asked me, you know, what I thought about the UFO issue. And I told him I thought it was extraordinarily important. It was probably one of the most important public policy issues that one could be involved in. And he said, oh, well, look, I should tell you that my best friend, John Mack, has just been dragged up in front of this kind of tribunal at Harvard University that's completely secret right now, but that they're excoriating him for having written this book about his interviews with people who held sincere beliefs that they'd had direct contact with extraterrestrial spacecraft, et cetera. And I said, would you be willing to take a call from John and consider representing him? And I said, yes, absolutely. So John called me, had me fly to Cambridge, and we sat down to talk about this. And we looked into it, and this was not an AAUP panel. It was not an Association of American University Professors authorized panel of any kind. It was just this kind of rump gathering that they'd put together. And then I found out that what had happened is that the United States Air Force and the Defense Department and the Central Intelligence Agency have been engaged for decades in a covert program of trying to smear people inside the military or inside government offices who tried to actually do anything about the UFO issue. Right. And what had happened is that one of the first things they would do, if a high-ranking officer insisted upon filing an official UFO report, one of the first things they would do is order him to go get a psychiatric exam, which is not a career builder.
Yeah, would you report a UFO or some kind of event if you know you'd have to go to the psych?
That's tough. I think if it was today, yes. If it was back when he's talking about, I don't think I would. And which is the problem. You know, today you can kind of just write it off. If people question it, you just be like, you know, he's a UFO guy, he's an alien guy. Back then, they go, oh, he's insane.
Oh yeah, immediately. So what's funny is, so Danny Jones is going to interview this guy called Felix Rodriguez. I guess he's a CIA guy, and he's all excited about it. But then here, Danny Sheehan says that, wait, he's one of the guys that's involved in the JFK assassination.
Oh no!
He's like, what? He goes, yeah, I deposed him. I think it's here. It's amazing.
In Operation Condor, he's a cold-blooded fucking killer. You know, that's who he is. Yeah, Felix Rodriguez.
He was on.
Yeah,
he was one of the Cuban assassins.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And just ask him about Rafael Chichi Quintero. Tell him we've interviewed Rafael.
He's like, he's a cold fucking killer.
Jesus.
And look at
his
face.
Look at his face is like, oh no.
Chichi Quintero. So we know exactly what we're talking about. You know?
So
ask him who Carl Jenkins is. You know? Say, tell me about Carl Jenkins. And tell me about how you got trained down in down in Oaxaca, Mexico, at Clint Murchison Jr.'s ranch as part of the Triangular Fire Team to kill Castro. Tell us about that, Felix.
It's incredible how the universe fucking just falls into place.
See what he says about that. Yeah.
See what he says about that.
So a lady we just had in here by the name of Annie Jacobson.
It's really funny though, because Danny Jones, you know, the guy, his podcast, he loves that he has all these connections in the CIA, and like he, you know, I don't know if I don't want to say he's naive, but he kind of like.
Well, you know, I think for any podcaster, it's exciting to be able to say, hey, you know, we've got this insider here with this kind of knowledge, but that leaves you open to people like Sheehan's talking about, you know, to come in and, oh God, well, you know, this is what I've got lined up.
Yeah, he's like, he's a cold fucking killer. Yeah, I deposed him.
And he brought, that's what I love is Sheehan brought the receipts. He goes, ask him about this, ask him about that.
Right. Future of America way. I want to see because he even links it to UFOs, like the assassination, and like these people who did the assassination were also part of like crash retrievals, or something like that.
Yeah, I imagine there's a lot of crossover between there, because if you find someone who's willing to kill another human being for God and country or whatever, they're able to keep a secret.
They're able to keep a secret, exactly. Government power, maybe here. Anyway, this is amazing.
What would they do if they had the technology?
Oh yeah, here we go.
And they knew if.
So wait, just to give some context right before this, Danny Jones, he's kind of a skeptic, of course, because he's with these CIA guys, and he's saying that's all just CIA and Doty and disinformation. It's just to us, blah blah blah. So I think Danny Sheehan convinced him, and this is now he's asking real questions. He's like, okay, fine, all right, this is real, and they're hiding this. And then this is what his question is about government, like why they would do that.
Whatever is behind the technology would completely change the world, and it would completely change the dynamic of nation states, right? Like if war was no longer a driving factor, and it would destroy their business model, because that's how they survive is from developing weapons and doing all this blue sky research on how to do all this sci-fi shit that DARPA's doing. It makes sense that they would want to keep it a secret. And I don't know what it would take to make that stuff come to light. And I don't see them letting go of it.
Well, the problem is it's even worse than that. It's one step worse than that. That in the 1992 United States Defense Department policy planning guidance document that I told you about, that they drafted up, starting on the Monday morning after the dissolution of the Soviet Union, what they did is they put this document together, and they said that the reason that we don't want to step back and reduce our military budget just because the Soviet Union has been disbanded now, and that we've been rationalizing the $700 billion a year on the grounds that we had to protect ourselves against them. The reason that we want to increase the military budget, because now we have the chance to establish full spectrum dominance over the planet. And the purpose of this will be to maintain, quote, to maintain our continued privileged access to the strategic raw materials needed by our major corporations. Okay? Because that's what they do. And they view that as they are Rome. They are the aggressor.
Right.
You asked me what my idea about the national security is. They are the aggressors on the planet. Okay? And what they're doing is they're working at the behest of the major corporations and the wealthiest families that own the shares of stock. It's just as bad as you think it is.
Right.
They view their job as securing their continued privileged access to the strategic raw materials. I've sat and had direct conversations with the people that'll tell you that if there's some third world country that is sitting on some sort of major resource that turns out to be of real value economically or militarily for us, if we don't go get it first, China or Russia will go get it. So we'll go get it first.
Right.
And that's aggressive war. That is a violation of every single premise of a just war theory.
Right.
You are the aggressor. You are the bad guy.
Yeah, and it's hard to argue against that, isn't it? It's hard.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Someone goes, well, China or Russia, then will go get it. We should go get it, kind of thing. Can we do it through peace? Like go negotiate, go talk to those guys. Like, oh, let's do an agreement. We'll build roads for you. I think China does that. We'll build roads for you, kind of thing.
Well, there's, I don't know.
Or something. Instead of go to war or pay off their dictators.
There has to be another solution.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Because I am for like us having influence over Russia or China, but it doesn't have to. Why does it have to be like corruption and war and these things?
It's good. It's a really good question. I think it's just the human condition. Once you get power, it corrupts you. That's the end all be all.
Yeah. What is it? Power corrupts absolutely, or absolute power corrupts absolutely. And if he's talking about global dominance and full global dominance, that is absolute power.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, definitely.
And we can see the corruption happening.
I had the experience when I got ready to leave to go to college. I grew up with my aunt and uncle, and my uncle was the head of the Republican County Committee up in Warren County, up in northern New York, right? And I'm getting set to leave to go down to Boston to go to college. He brings me out. He's the head of he's the civil defense director for the whole county, and he goes out and we stand in our front yard. And from our front yard, you look north into Canada, and for 100 miles, all there are is forest, the Adirondack Forest Preserve, right? And Uncle Jim says to me, Danny, he says, you're going down to college now. I don't want you to become a communist, going down there. He said, I want you to look out here now. There's going to be a day will come when the Russians are parachuting into our hometown. And I want you to commit to me right now that when the Russians parachute into our town, that you will fight against them. And I said, look, Jim, Jim, the Russians aren't going to be parachuting into our hometown. I said, but I'll tell you what I will do. I will take an oath to protect the Constitution of the United States.
That's why I love him.
Against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
I just look at his face here, but just to remind everyone who Danny Sheehan is, he's part of Iran Contra, Deep Throat, and those papers, that's him. This guy has decades and decades of experience with government corruption and secrets. And he talks about the Roswell crash here.
Yeah, he's been in the game for a really long time.
Oh, yeah.
A humanoid. There was a Nazi guy, Stalin.
So he's still trying here. Yeah, we can play it.
Got that was like I always forget his name, but he was like a surgery guy. He was in charge of like doing all this crazy like surgical experiments, manipulating people, and he did this surgical manipulation on like kids with Down syndrome and made them look like aliens and crashed them in there to sow panic and chaos in the U.S.
What do I think about that?
And then hold on,
yeah,
and then she went back towards the end of her research years later, and she goes, why wouldn't you say something about this? She's like, this makes them look terrible. If you guys found out the truth and could find evidence proving that Stalin was behind this, why wouldn't you do that? And the EG&G engineer said, because we started doing the same thing. He literally said that they started doing the surgical stuff, experimenting on kids.
It's all a total brain fart. Total. I mean, you can get extraordinarily intricate stories by people who are total psychopaths,
right?
And they're completely convincing because even some of them believe it themselves. It's not true. I'm the guy that helped expand the telegram in the hand of General Ramey.
Yeah.
The famous picture of him kneeling down next to the weather balloon, kneeling down there, and you look at he's got a telegram, a cable in his hand. You can see it. I always saw. I said, that guy's got a fucking cable of some sort in his hand there. You can't read it from the photograph.
Right.
And so, like 1995, I'm doing a talk, giving everybody a briefing on the John Mack case. That was still underway at that time. I'm out at the International UFO Congress out in Laughlin, Nevada, and a guy comes up to me after I do my briefing on the Mack case. And he says, Mr. Sheehan, he said, I've got something really important I need to talk with you about. Could you come up and meet me up in my room? And I went, I think I better bring somebody with me. So I get another friend of mine. We go up. And he says, I think I've found the photographer from the Roswell newspaper, who the editor called him at 2:00 in the morning after the July 8th, banner headline in the Roswell paper that everybody's seen about flying saucer, that they found a flying saucer and it went out over the AP wires and everybody was going ballistic, right? And he gets a call at 2:00 in the morning from the editor of the paper and says that General Ramey has flown in from Texas and he's demanding that we send a photographer out right now because they want to get the photographs and put them on the front page of the paper for the morning. And he goes out, and here's Ramey, with Marcel and the rest of the guys, and they're all still up, and they've got a weather balloon kind of spread out on the floor, and he's kneeling down next to the weather balloon, and he's got this cable in his hand. You can see the telegram. And so this guy says, I think I may have found the photographer that took the picture. And I said, great. I said, if you can find out and it's the right guy, see if he's got the negatives. If he's got the negatives, we might be able to digitize them and blow these things up and we can read the telegram, right? So he does. He goes and finds the guy. Sure enough, it's the guy. Sure
Amazing.
enough, he's got the negatives. Sure enough, we get them blown up and digitized, right? And it says right in them, we had to do some computer stuff with, where the consonants and vowels were to be able to fill in where some of the wrinkles were that were in the thing. But it says, bring the disc to right field and bring the bodies. Okay. Now, and so that we know that it was real. It wasn't any weather balloon, and all the guys that are there, I mean, they know what a weather balloon looks like.
Well, that story would fit in with the EG&G engineer story.
It's not even close to a weather balloon. I mean, this was a huge craft.
He said it was a drone. He said it was like a flying saucer that they literally piloted with bodies.
Anybody can make anything up. Anybody can make anything up. And we've seen them. I mean, look at Corey Good, the guy that I told you about. Corey Good went on.
Oh man, exactly. Anyone can make anything up. I mean, I guess that goes both ways,
It's true. I'm 6'8" for all of our listeners out there.
Yeah, I have a 210 IQ. I mean,
damn.
I know.
You're not making that up, right?
It's a glass of focus. But yeah, that's a great interview. I don't want to spend too much more time, but there's so much more in there. Like, please go listen to this.
Just from the clips you've presented, I mean, this is great. This is great stuff.
Yeah, it is. And he's deposed these guys. He's done lie detector tests, but different types of lie detector tests. I forget the name. But now there's a lot of stuff that's coming out because of the National Archives.
One of I think one of the greatest inventions that that's come through essentially the internet. The archives and digitalization and stuff like that. Because articles like this, major claims movies show saucers are interplanetary. This kind of stuff could just stay hidden in really old newspapers, but now they're it's coming back.
Yeah, and this is Major Kehoe. So I guess Donald E. Kehoe, he was the one. He started NICAP, right? And I guess from 1953, Newswire. The major said the pictures were made over Tremonton, Utah, on July 2nd, 1952, but never were disclosed because it was decided such action was not in the public interest.
Oh, God.
Children.
Yeah, exactly. You children.
However, the Air Force promptly denied withholding the movies. A spokesman said the films are owned by Navy Warrant Officer Dilbert C. Newhouse, who can make them public if he chooses. Oh, it was back then they even started that.
Well, I'm seeing back then they actually are dropping names in the newspaper.
Oh yeah,
because back, if this had come out today, he'd have 10,000 people sitting outside of his place of residence and demanding he show these things.
It is a very different time.
Yeah. What was there was a filmmaker, a documentarian who was told, he was given a contract essentially by the U.S. government saying, all right, you're going to release a documentary about UFOs and aliens. And they filmed this whole thing on the Air Force Base. And then do you remember who that was? I think it was in the 70s.
It was in the 70s, and the show they were going to they showed him the Holloman Air Force Base.
Yeah, I think it was Holloman. Yeah, I think you're right.
But the show was called something else, like UFOs or the.
It doesn't matter, but it's just that kind of stuff. They were a lot looser back in the day with the rules, and now it's all hush hush.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, look at Roswell. The U.S. government, the Air Force said they had UFOs, and then they came back the next day and said it was a weather balloon.
Yeah, they're like, sorry. Yeah, no, we were just kidding.
Now what is this? Because I think
this. I don't know where they're pointing, but if they're pointing at the ocean, then that's a ship. Okay, if they're not, then I don't know what the hell that is. So this is in the Ukraine, and I think it's either shot through a drone or some type of aircraft, and then they see something in the middle of the screen.
Let's give it a watch.
Okay. Oh.
Охренеть, ни хрена. Что это за херня такая? Это тарелка по-любому. По-любому. А ну приплись еще.
Yeah.
На месте, блядь. А в теплак ничего не светит?
So I saw in the comments that that's just a ship. They were saying. So if
Like-
if this is the ocean or the water,
Yeah, that's very hard footage to decipher
right?
because it looks too. It doesn't look like the ocean to me, just because it's not. Moving. It's not. You don't see any waves. It's not moving around or anything. Of course, more shit posting on social media.
UFOs always around war zones.
That's true.
Yeah,
But it's hard to say what that footage is. Very interesting. It looks like Fleur, looking over some sort of landscape, and they capture something in the sky that's stationary. Very interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So if we just need to make sure that it's not water. If it's not water, then yeah, that's really weird for it to be just standing there. So this is rotating purple lights that split apart, fly separate directions, and spark electricity between them once separated.
Oh, that's definitely what a balloon does.
That is the new thing, huh? Balloons.
Yeah, it's always a freaking balloon. This is in North Carolina.
Greensboro, 2023. Well, end of 2023.
Weird.
Yeah.
Of course, it's super bad quality footage.
I know. Like, why does this have to be all like?
I don't know.
All right, next.
Frustrating.
Right.
Frustrating.
Yeah, it is. And then there's this one. I think it's out of California. You see this?
Yeah, you sent this to me, I think.
Somehow. Oh, there it is. There.
Think Tank man. He's got a lot of videos. That's all he does.
What the fuck is that? Look, there's a plane over here. What is that? It's just standing still there. Whoa, what is that? What the fuck?
Very weird stuff. Especially the plane flying by it. And then it kind of goes into the clouds like that. So cool.
What is that? You guys, what is that? It's like a crack in the firmament.
A crack in the firmament?
What the fuck?
It's rotating.
It's moving.
Huh. Yeah, watch this.
What is that? It's not a bird. It's not a plane. You see that bird in the plane?
It's Superman.
What the fuck is that? Okay, I got my telescope. What the hell is that? You guys, what the fuck is that? That's a UFO 100%. And hold on. Let me see if I can show you. We've got one right there. Look at that one.
That's a plane.
Yeah, it gets blurry when I zoom in. Look at that one.
Wait.
Okay, so what the hell is that?
Yeah, that's
what
very
the hell
weird.
is that?
Oh
my god!
Stationary, but
We
it's
got UFO
rotating.
sightings. We got UFO sightings.
What can that be?
It's a balloon.
Shit.
It's a typical cylinder.
It's moving.
Cigar, and then
I'm
it
keeping
stops.
The camera straight, you guys. It's
And
just
rotates
because
back.
it's
Wow,
microscopic,
that's
it's obviously
weird.
gonna be like moving.
They're just showing off.
Look at that.
Yeah.
UFO.
Anyway, that's
All right, it is.
that is cool footage. Oh wait,
Whoa,
yeah, right there.
It's shining. They know I'm watching it. They know I'm recording. That's why
hell?
that's why they're being so obvious.
Yeah, see that lady knows her
It's
shit.
now moving up above the cloud.
Are they like
Wow, it
communicating
is
with her?
shooting up.
Could be.
What the heck, you guys? Look at this.
I think it's on TikTok, right? He said he found it, or was it on Reddit?
This is so
It's
cool.
probably on
We've
Reddit.
got a plane there. Okay.
Oh, there's a
We've got a
plane.
plane over here somewhere if I can catch it.
So she's on like something. Why is it circle? Is it like a
She says she's
telescope?
looking through the telescope. Yeah.
Catch it. But anyway,
That's
back
so
to this
cool,
thing.
man.
There it is.
Good for her. And then she
There
zooms in on
is.
it. Look at that.
Silver.
Yeah.
It's like silver and black.
I mean, that's
Showing me.
not
I
like
bet you
space
nobody has
junk,
seen this. Nobody
I mean,
is
it can't be
spotting
space
this.
junk. It's in our atmosphere.
Oh,
right?
shit,
And I mean,
look at
and it
another little
stops,
one
and you know what I
underneath it.
mean. Like it's not tumbling.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's very cool footage.
This is too cool.
I honestly don't know. I don't have
So the
any
Super Bowl was
rational explanation for
on
that.
this.
It is weird though that wherever she lives, has like thousands of planes flying overhead. Apparently,
It's floating towards a
It's gotta
cloud.
be California.
every other second she's filming a plane flying by.
Jeremy Corbyn. I mean, that
Yeah,
looks
it looks like a golf pencil. That's silver.
Yeah.
A golf pencil, as in when you're in the cart and you're marking down your scores, the course usually gives you like a half pencil. That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it does look like that. Interesting. Hopefully someone can speak to her because that's really
Yeah.
cool. That's some good footage.
Yeah, fun stuff.
And then you shared these USO images
So-
that's been around for a while.
I remember seeing these photos from maybe 10 years ago when they
Yeah.
were first posted on Reddit. They were never debunked as far as I can tell, but the quote unquote official story that was going around is they were balloons. I know,
Mhm.
ironic.
training.
That were used for training purposes. It was down in Antarctica, in
Right.
the ocean by Antarctica,
Mhm.
and the U.S. naval, the U.S. Navy were using them for testing, but it's such bizarre footage, and I don't really buy that explanation. I mean, they've got triangular craft. Yeah, that one is really cool. That one,
Yeah.
like, kind of looks like the Independence Day craft. Another
Yeah.
one triangle from a different angle. They've got cigar shaped crafts. But yeah, apparently, supposedly these were balloons that were used for testing by the U.S. Navy. Hence why you have the scope on the.
I know this one.
all
This
the
one's
shots.
authentic. Yeah.
Yeah. But there is no real explanation. That's just the myth going around. But these are really interesting photos to me, and I love them.
Yeah, I love them also because they're old.
These are from like I think the 50s or the 60s. The photos didn't come out.
60s, 70s.
The photos didn't come out until much later, but that's supposedly when the photos are from.
Alleged USS Trepang photos.
Right.
Oh, and it's a original scan. Wait a minute. It's a Google Drive. Oh, you're kidding me. Wait, can I share this? Can you see that?
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are the original.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, I know that one because I've seen that one officially too.
Yeah, I mean it's really, really, really cool. These are really cool photos. I find them fascinating. I'm really glad they popped up again because
Really cool.
I don't know what the hell they're supposed to be.
Well, now Psychology Today is getting into it. The danger of UFOs is not what you think. It's actually a good article.
Alt-right
Yeah.
pipeline to Nazis or something stupid.
Yeah, I that's what I rolled my eyes when I first. I'm like, oh great.
Yeah.
But they're basically saying get rid of the giggle factor. Our psychological response to the unfamiliar holds the real threat. Basically, stop.
You have to have
being
an
so
open
negative.
mind is the long and short of it.
Right, exactly. Military dangers of the giggle factor, because the giggle factor's there.
And this goes with I watch a lot of horror movies and stuff. So when someone randomly comes up to you and they are really freaked out and they say they saw something really scary, you don't laugh at them. You go, okay, so yes, there is a 10-foot tall monster chasing you. What do we have to do to get rid of it?
Right, right.
I'm half joking, but what you should do always, I can't remember where the saying comes from, but it's trust but verify. So
Trust but verify. Right, exactly.
Listen to what the person's saying. You can believe them or not. Trust them. They're not coming to you out of trying to make a fool out of you or whatever, but verify what they're saying is true before you make any decisions one way or the other.
Yeah, and he concludes here. He goes, ridiculing the prospect of the most with the most extreme of these looming disruptions will keep us in our comfort zones for a while, but sooner or later leave us ill prepared for the next 9/11 pandemic, war, or Capitol riot.
Yep.
I mean, exactly.
Hundy P. 100%.
So, I'm going to include this because now the National Archives is populating with new, because the UAP Disclosure Act was gutted. However, the only thing left in there was that all agencies with anything related to UFOs and UAPs that are 25 years old, 25-year-old years and older have to submit to the National Archives. And there's a lot of stuff in here. I mean, even pictures, which I think they even some hoaxes though, which is annoying. They should just have like real stuff in there.
Yeah, but I mean, depending on which department this came from, it makes sense
It's
that
a
they would.
dump.
Yeah, you keep all the information.
Greatest secret, an executive summary of the greatest secret of 20. I mean, there's a lot of documents here. But yeah, I'm sharing the main link so people can go in there unrestricted.
Yeah, hopefully you guys go on our show notes, look up everything we talked about, but you can pull this link up on your computer or phone and go through these different articles that are posted here in this archive.
Look at
It's
this.
really interesting stuff.
Not yet available online. This video recording uses government, military, and intelligence community witnesses to testify to their personal first-hand experience with UFOs, ETs, ET technology, and the cover-up that kept this information secret. Witnesses explained that advanced energy technology information obtained from the spacecraft and their creators was the reason for the cover-up in order to maintain the global geopolitical power and energy sector financial status quo, as well as its oil industry's special interests. Dr. Stephen Greer, interesting.
Wow.
In the National Archives. Wow.
But you missed the very important thing right at the top. Not yet available online.
Why? Yeah, no, I did say that.
This item has not yet been digitized.
Yeah, so that said, also, so Zodiac just dropped in the National Archives.
Right.
Same thing. You go in there, it says not yet available. So the reason why this is a big deal is because
actually, you had to explain this to me because I didn't know what this was. I think it's worth explaining here.
So the Majestic Majestic 12, MJ 12, like that. The name changed in the 60s to Zodiac, and then
weird at all.
Yeah, exactly. Then from Zodiac, it went black or went completely corporate. Is the story. So that now is in the National Archives. Nothing's in there yet, but the folder has been created. Yes, you can't see it yet.
Yeah.
So they're still populating the National Archives, which is amazing. I can't wait for that.
I'm assuming they've got, some poor top-level CIA bastard on it. He's sitting there like in the Indiana Jones warehouse with all these, instead of boxes, it's all just documents, and he's got to sit there and scan them into his computer one by one.
They're probably deleting everything too, right?
Yeah, most likely.
That really matters.
Right. Little Timmy saw a UFO in his backyard. Better put that one on there. U.S. government captures alien live. Delete.
Yeah, while our government lies to us and covers up, this is what China's doing. China has designed a new stealth aircraft that uses plasma. I'm sure we have something that's cooler than this, but we're just not open about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very. I mean, hell, I would love to see some sort of aircraft that uses plasma. That's an interesting concept. Like, does it shoot out the back, do you think, or it just gets recycled?
It's around it, so there's a field around the craft, and that way they can't be seen by radar, for example. There's nothing to bounce off of. Yeah, and they can go faster without. I think they can without a sonic boom too. If that's around it while it goes faster than the speed of light, then there's no sonic boom.
Wow.
So yeah, plasma. Let's see, ionization. Yeah, see, in case of radar.
Radio waves propagate the plasma. They move the charged particles about and deliver energy to them. So in principle, you could have a plasma that absorbs all of your radio waves with nothing reflecting back. Right. You'd be invisible to radar. Wow, interesting. Yeah, I mean,
we must have stuff like that, man.
I was going to say, I'm very curious to know what the U.S. government has compared to this, because I'm sure we've got very secretive stuff. It'd be really depressing. I just crossed my mind. What if the U.S. I doubt it's the case. What if the U.S. government is just really stupid and they have nothing?
I thought about that too.
And they're just like, let's pretend we've got a bunch of secret stuff, but we actually don't have anything.
Yeah. It's all
we've got a plane that goes the speed of light. Leak it.
I mean, I think of that too. I'm like, how come we would lose all these wars? How come, and it might be and then because it's not profitable to win wars,
Right. Yeah, you want to keep it going as long as possible.
But it's also why no one messes with us either. Like, why aren't they, no one, no matter how bad we are or how far we push it or how much or how rogue, or no one does anything about it. So there could be truth then behind this, or they believe the psyop also.
Yeah, who knows?
So that, oh yeah, and then you shared this with me also. The left photo is a still of the Iraqi jellyfish UFO.
Yeah, we
The
covered
right
that.
photo.
We covered the thing on the video on the left a few episodes back. But I mean, cavemen have been drawing weird stuff like this for very long. We have, we don't have, it's, you can't say documents or whatever, but we've got proof that, well, we don't have proof of anything, I guess. But cavemen, what I'm trying to say is cavemen were drawing pictures of the weird stuff they saw. And a lot of it seems, such as this, seems to match up with stuff that we're currently seeing.
Yeah, it's not like we're saying when they drew animals, we don't say that those animals don't exist,
Yeah.
So they're drawing things that they saw in the sky. And in the electric universe theory, the Thunderbolts project on YouTube. Have you seen those documentaries about the cave drawings, the electric universe? And they're basically saying that they were drawing our planets or our solar system being formed at the time. They talk about Saturn and Venus, and yeah, I highly recommend watching it.
Yeah, it sounds good. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, and they're basically saying, they weren't making stuff up. They were seeing these things, and they point out what they were seeing. So yeah, my point is, like, they weren't hallucinating. They are putting here as a matter of record, for future humans that, look, we see these things. Do you see them too? Kind of thing.
Right.
What are these things though? Like dragons?
Cracks in the wall.
Oh, okay. So
honestly, I don't know.
Well, these are cracks for sure. Look at that.
Yeah, very, very weird.
Yeah,
very interesting.
Very weird. Oh yeah, so this happened this week. And we'll go through the
please do. There's plenty to talk about here.
The process. Okay, so
today.
Well, trending today is a private lender that is currently orbiting the moon. The Intuitive Machine spacecraft will attempt to land on the surface sometime today. So a smooth touchdown would return the U.S. to the moon surface for the first time since NASA astronauts closed out the Apollo program back in 1972. If this is successful, it would also become the first private outfit to ace a moon landing. NASA expert Dr. Joel Kern says this mission can help scientists better understand the future of our planet.
It's a great area of interest for the future where folks want to go to the moon, both to answer scientific questions about how the Earth and the moon formed, but also to see if it's true what some of our scientific instruments tell us.
So that was 2 hours before, and then this was when they landed. It says, after troubleshooting communications, flight controllers have confirmed Odysseus is upright and starting to send data. Right now, we are working to downlink the first images from the lunar surface. Now, just so you know, everyone's making fun of this process, right? Even like that YouTube video, everyone's like, haha, yeah, right. And then even under this, they're like, yeah, what does this guy say? Hurry up, what's taking so long? Shake my head. Is AT&T down on the moon too? So
that's what I was
it
laughing
doesn't
at.
help.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't help when this happens. The Odysseus lander appears to be on its side. Intuitive Machine CEO Steve Altimus says. Why is it so hard to get to the moon?
Like I said in our chat, it's aliens going satellite tipping. Like humans do cow tipping, which is a myth, by the way, for people who don't know. Cow tipping is not really a thing.
Is it really not a thing?
It's really not a thing.
Okay.
Cows don't sleep standing up, and even if you push, first of all, they're too heavy to push over, and two, if you pushed a cow, it would just like you push a human.
Oh yeah, I've seen cows in Switzerland. They don't sleep standing. They all sit down or lay down, just like normal.
Just like any other animal on Earth, except for fainting goats, I guess. But even they fall down. Anyway, so wait, so is the lander up or on its side? Because they said they had
its side.
Well, is it because the last tweet you just showed said they had some technical difficulties, but
no, that was before this.
Oh, okay. So they thought it landed, but it landed on it. It fell over.
Unfortunately, yeah. I mean, they said they're still sending pictures and stuff, but yeah, it's a goner.
Well, you either take photos of the ground or you take photos of the sky. Well, or sideways, whatever.
People are like, "Oh, space is difficult. Space is..." Yeah, but we supposedly did it in '69 with no
Yeah,
mistakes.
that
Zero
always,
mistakes.
it makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. Because
No, yeah, and a lot of
they,
people.
they talk about how the computers have the calculating power of a calculator nowadays, and
right.
now our technology is so far beyond that, and the fact that we still can't go to or land on the moon, and they erased the original footage and they got rid of the technology that helped them get there in the first place. Like, all these
Why would you do
explanations
that?
make no sense.
That company is saying that they're rebuilding the talent and the plans that we've lost over the years. Like, how does that make any sense?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I honestly don't know.
That's so crazy. Anyway, it doesn't help the flat earthers and all that, all those space is fake guys. All this doesn't help.
No, it does not.
We just still can't land there. I still say that we went there in our anti-gravity crafts, okay? And what we showed on TV, that was fake. But we went there, and that's why Russia and China, they're all quiet, because they know we went there using our superior technology, reverse engineered. The footage was faked. That's been my going theory. And that leads nicely actually into this new documentary by Jesse McKells. He released one about T. Townsend Brown. Do you know who that is?
I don't.
So T. Townsend Brown was a physicist that I'm sure you've seen his videos though, or people of his, either him or using his technology, where I think it's radio waves. If you beam radio waves to an object, it makes it lighter, so then it floats, kind of thing. So anyway, he was with the military, with the Navy, and then his technology and the whole industry went black, as in anti-gravity.
Of course.
So the entire documentary is about him. We'll play some clips from it, but it's a great documentary, and it tells you like something happened in the late 50s. All the magazines were talking about it. We've talked about it before on the show, also, about this. So this goes into T. Townsend Brown, and how he was very vocal. The press was always talking about him, and then boom, that's it. Nothing more. Wait, where did I stop it?
The sightings very astonishingly similar to that craft.
And what about the line from Jacques Vallée's book about UFO misinformation? Vallée claims that Lazar told him about a strange liquid he was made to drink and the memory lapses it caused. Relax. But why would Lear or his handlers want to spread all these lies? Flood the zone with craziness on a core secret you're worried might get out eventually, but with someone you can discredit in Bob Lazar? Soften the blow for the public when the leak eventually does occur? Or maybe protect some deep black aerospace tech by emphasizing its less directly actionable elements, exotic metamaterials that came from the sky, instead of the very terrestrial propulsion and physics breakthroughs, which are easier to recreate, but also kind of dangerous. What does Townsend Brown and the B-2 stealth bomber have anything to do with Bob Lazar? Well, indirectly, probably a whole lot. See, it's important to understand what was happening in defense, and more specifically, stealth aviation technology in the 80s.
The stealth revolution was just beginning. Stealth was just beginning to ramp up, and you could almost see someone going, hey, you know what, we're going to need a bit of unconventional cover for this new technology that's about to come online.
In '87, Lear leaks a story about the F-117 stealth fighter to KLAS, Knapp's news station in Las Vegas, and also gives them a bunch of supposedly top secret UFO tips.
He had told my boss, Ned Day, managing editor, about this amazing plane that was invisible to radar flying up in Tonopah in Area 51.
By Knapp's own account, this information on the F-117A establishes credibility for Lear with the news station. But on a plane in the F-117 that is no longer state-of-the-art. In fact, one had just crashed in Bakersfield in 1986 and had been outed to the public. It also probably wasn't the most advanced aviation craft that Lockheed had operational at the time.
I think you have your bullshit that's going on where there's definitely some programs, just like they did with the stealth bomber, just like they did with these hypersonic missiles. There's a lot of stuff that they developed that's like, it has to be developed in top secret for national security reasons. It has to be done that way. You can't just tell everybody you have this thing. And so one of the best ways to obscure that, I'm sure, would be to blame it on aliens.
And Ben Rich, the director of Lockheed Skunk Works at the time, would openly express frustration at all the money he had to spend on tech protection. Maybe the extraterrestrial narrative in the 80s was being used to protect deep black aerospace projects like the Aurora or the Astra. These are the two code names used for the long-rumored high-speed black triangle stealth surveillance craft made by Lockheed Martin and allegedly tested out of Groom Lake. And this was around the same time Lazar was there. After all, the Aurora was probably Lockheed's answer to Northrop's B-2, as the two prime defense contractors were locked in head-to-head competition in times of peak defense spending. So maybe the Aurora also used flight principles inspired by Townsend Brown. For some context here, the US Geological Surveys at the time were picking up sonic booms, presumably from a supersonic craft, and they knew it wasn't created by the space shuttle or the SR-71 Blackbird. The Aurora had also...
What's the new one? It's not the B2, right? What's the new one?
No,
They just released it.
I don't think it's the B2. I love planes so much. I was just running through my plane knowledge because the SR-71 Blackbird, that one's really fun. That one was super secret for a long time, used during the Cold War. I don't
B-21.
Is it the B-21, the new one? But Aurora is interesting. They've caught that on camera a couple times, way high up in the sky. I remember when that was first being posted on the internet.
Look at this thing. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it very... Is there a full photo, like from the top down or the side or something? Because right now it just looks like a typical UFO, but there it is. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it looks like a B-2, so B-21, not that far off.
Yeah. How come nothing's playing?
Oh, you didn't play the ad, so it's not going to play.
Oh, it's probably like the reveal.
Yeah.
Right, which is like
still, really cool stuff. I'm jealous of all the people who get to fly that thing. All three of them probably. There's probably not that many people who are officially allowed.
Especially the guys that test it.
Yeah.
Well, there's Lloyd Austin. There it is. I mean, yeah, so not too much. They're too scared of our adversaries.
Sure.
They might.
Yeah,
Our adversaries might see it.
Yeah, really, really, really cool stuff. I'd love to be on the inside of one of those up in the sky, but it'll never happen, of course.
Well, so yeah, in that documentary, saying they used T. Townsend Brown's technology in this, that they electrify this unit, which makes it lighter, so it doesn't need too much fuel to fly or to go very fast.
Well, isn't there the thing where you get to a high enough altitude and you get up to a high enough speed, you can essentially turn off the engines because you're just gliding at that point.
Yeah. Basically falling too, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what orbit is. For those who don't know, is orbit is just falling and essentially missing the planet.
Yeah, continually falling.
It's really that's a really simple way to put it, but that's truly what orbit is you're falling and missing the planet.
Yeah, that's what walking is too, I heard. Isn't it like a controlled fall?
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess technically. I mean, you're falling forward, but you stick your foot out and
right. Yeah. Well, yeah, especially when you watch kids grow up, like they're always you're right. They were always falling, and when they finally learn how to walk, it's just controlling the fall, or
yeah,
using that momentum to keep going. So this is the obelisk thing that they have been finding in our guts and tongues.
Yeah, so weird.
So the reason why this is weird is that scientists have been watching this not realm, or at this microscopic level, have been watching nature for a very long time, and these things would have shown up, but they're only now showing up in people, and they're shaped like obelisks. Where does he talk about them?
I think you had it down there.
It's insane. Oh yeah.
Viroids, the one that starts with viroids do not manufacture proteins, but they can regroup. Is it something in there?
Yeah. If viroids have long been known to plague plants, then how did souped-up viroid-like obelisk manage to escape the notice of medical science inside the object of their constant probing the human body until after the release of mRNA-based COVID-19 vaccines? Called wildly weird in the journal Nature, the obelisks were named for their elongated shape and perhaps their significance. The name is reminiscent of the black monolith and the Stanley Kubrick film 2001: A Space Odyssey.
What a great film.
Amazing movie. Yeah. They've found 30,000 distinct types of obelisks in human populations throughout the world.
Wow.
The idea is now to find out what these mysterious entities do, how they affect human biology, and what their true purpose really is. So I think they're saying here that they replicate, but not like viruses.
Yeah, it's weird. We got to keep an eye on this moving forward to see what keeps coming up about it, because this is a fascinating subject.
Yeah.
And once again, it's something we can't physically see or really get our hands on, metaphorically speaking, I guess.
Yeah, but what
so
do we
people
do about these things?
don't seem to care. No, there isn't anyone I know besides us talking about this at the moment.
On that note, this guy, Dr. Frenzer, says there are exactly 33 adenines at the end of SARS-CoV-2. There does not need to be. And here he has the code for SARS. And at the end, there are 33 A's. Right there.
Yeah, I mean, this is essentially gibberish to me. I don't truly understand it. So I'll take this. I'll take his word for it.
No other coronavirus has an A tail like that. It came from somewhere. Scientists discovered DNA chunk in COVID that matches Moderna patented sequence from before pandemic. Now we know the number 33. This could be like, oh, this has been created by us.
Mhm.
The cabal are putting their signature on there.
Yep.
Yeah. And just with the same theme, this is from Greg Reese. I think it's the inhalation now. This is something coming out.
Oh boy, we talked about it last week actually with Mika.
How horrific! That show did really well, by the way. Is it because
I'm happy to hear it. He's got a big fan base. He's a social media influencer.
Wow. Okay, I was wondering, like, my God,
we're gonna get him canceled though.
We need to bring him back on.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd be happy to. He fit in quite nicely.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. And he had some great takes on a lot of these issues.
He did, and he was very knowledgeable too, which is good.
He was, yeah, and a complete natural, huh? But
Yeah.
I knew that though, yeah.
We all did.
Right. Greg Reese makes great videos in general.
Well, you got a great intro, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Emotionally, it is easy to dismiss the work of Dr. Anna Maria Mielchia, for it is very disturbing. But her work is shown through scientific testing and backed up by government and NGO documentation. And the evidence shows that humanity has already been infected with cutting-edge surveillance nanotechnology. This is a follow-up to my last report on Dr. Mielchia's hydrogel research. New research shows that those who received the COVID shots emit a fluorescent orange glow in their faces that is visible under a UV light of 365 nanometers. And those who have been exposed to shedding emit this glow around their nose. After his wife was coerced into getting the COVID shot, PhD Justin Coy began his own research. He found that the more shots a person received, the more they glowed under UV light. The glow can be seen initially around the nose, and over time spreads throughout the entire face and into the neck. After a hot shower, filaments are expelled through the skin of the vaxxed, and these filaments also emit a glow under UV light. These filaments not only glow, but they have been shown to move on their own in spastic movements. And they are also attracted to people. In videos, they can be seen trying to latch onto a finger. And when a person who has received the shot has dry skin, these expelled filaments will become airborne. This could explain how shedding occurs from the vaxxed to the unvaxxed. The Pfizer trial document stated that an unvaxxed individual in close proximity to someone who's been vaxxed can be infected by inhalation and skin contact. In 2008, a biological nanotechnology pesticide designed to kill the brown moth in the state of California was deployed and appears to have included the same sort of fluorescent invisible microdye that we see in the scientific research. Dr. Hildegard Staninger tested individuals exposed to this nanotech pesticide and found that a glow could be detected in their eyes under UV light.
The Eye of Horus. Dude, what the hell is going on here? Like, who's in charge of this planet? Like, it's something anti-human. I mean,
it's
bizarre.
It's just, it makes me sad. It makes me angry. It makes me scared. You know, it's just, yeah. And what the hell are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
You know, that especially the whole thing, you know, with the vaccinations, you know, it's supposed to be your body, your choice. That was proven to be only your body, your choice if we deem it permissible.
Right.
You know, and now it's even beyond that, where it's, even if you didn't want the vaccine, you're apparently getting it, you know, from people who got it themselves. It's absurd.
Which with something that knows that has huge side effects, that's changing us physically and genetically. You know,
Yeah.
it's like we're gonna end up wearing the wearing the hazmat suit going around town because
I know, man. Right?
Dr. Staninger called this the Eye of Horus effect due to its similar appearance,
like our logo,
and claimed it was due to the use of fluorescent thiocyanate in the pesticide, which according to the literature would have been used to track the effectiveness of the dispersal. The idea has been around for decades. The Institute for National Security Studies' Non-Lethal Weapons Terms and References, published in 1997, discusses an invisible infrared dye which is visible under UV light so that rioters can be later identified. Justin Coy points out how the genetic code for luciferase, a bioluminescent enzyme found in nature, is included in the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines, along with SV40, which could theoretically allow the luciferase to be written into the genetics of the recipient. Coy proposes that this could be what is causing the vaxxed to glow under UV light. The Trace Act, HR 6666, COVID-19 testing, research, and contact.
Yeah, of course.
6666. You sent me that to our show.
Yeah.
Anyway, people watch this. We know that, you know, I think he repeats a lot here that was covered in the past of, unfortunately, what the government or elements of the government are trying to do. You know, whether we like it or not, they want this stuff in all of us. It's crazy and scary to think about. Like, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's bizarre because there's not like the regular flu vaccine. There's not a huge push to get it. You know, you get a reminder from your doctor, or maybe you'll see an ad for it as you're walking around. You know, get your flu vaccine. It's flu season. But the big push to get the vaccines for COVID-19, which, you know, admittedly was dangerous to some people, but overall was not that dangerous of a disease.
Yeah, and now they're coming out and saying that. I think you actually shared that with me. We might have it queued up. But yeah, now they're basically saying, oh yeah, we knew it wasn't a big problem, and we didn't push any mandates or anything. And
yeah, they didn't push any mandates.
Where is that one actually that you shared with me? But yeah, this happened last week also.
Yeah, so Google's AI called Gemini, people discovered that it would not create any pictures of white people.
Yeah, literally white people only.
So they would say, hey, show me a happy German family from the 1800s or whatever, or show me a happy white couple, and it would keep not doing it. And so, you know, of course it got abused and turned into something racist.
Yeah.
Show me you know, a king, a British king eating
Viking.
watermelon, or
yeah. Oh, that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, or my favorite one was like, show me a picture of the founding fathers signing the Declaration of Independence. And it was, you you know, a lot of minorities there, including, you know, Native Americans and stuff, you know, and like it's fine for a fictional thing, but as we're seeing more and more, AI is being, you know, used in collaboration with other projects to teach people things. And so when you try and, you know, show people a history that's not real, then, you know, what are you doing? You're not teaching at all. You're making stuff up.
Commies, man, commies. They want to destroy history.
But yeah,
yeah,
there it is right there though.
Make 4 representative images of the founding fathers in 1789. Oh, come on, Anna. Look at that. This was hilarious.
Yeah, the founding fathers
included a woman, which is
the founding fathers included. Yeah.
Wait, I got.
I mean, you know,
I don't.
You know, it's just it's something else. Everyone has heard of whitewashing, and it's bad, and I agree.
Yeah.
But then you have to go the other way and say blackwashing probably isn't good either.
It's insulting for both people.
It is. I agree.
You can't just take a white person and put a black person in you know, in their place. It's insulting. There are historical great people of all races. Just do that. Like, don't switch out is what I'm saying.
That's exactly what I was going to say is, you know, black people have done many great things, and they should be, you know, applauded, and you know, people should learn about those great things that they've done. But to just replace white people and say, okay, now here's a black person instead that's in that exact same position, it doesn't do anyone any good. And you're right, it is insulting.
Yeah, to both. There's a great clip of Morgan Freeman when it was he was on 60 Minutes, I think, and he was asked about Black History Month. He was on 60 Minutes, yeah, and he goes, what did he say?
He said, "Get rid of it," right?
He goes, "Get rid of it." He goes, "Why?" He goes, "Okay, what if I give you he goes, "What history do you want?" Oh, it's Mike Wallace or one of the Wallaces, and he goes, "What white history month should I give you? What are you delegated to?" You know, and he's like, "Well, first of all, I'm Jewish." He tells him. He's like, "But you know, but what's wrong with that?" He goes, "Because you know, I don't want to be judged on the color of my skin, and you know what I mean, like it's my actions and my character." Unfortunately, we keep going back and forth with this.
I swear there was a man, a very famous man, who had a dream about one day his sons and daughters would be judged based on the merit of their character, not by the color of their skin. I swear there was a person, that very famous, good guy, that said that.
Very wise man.
Very wise man. I can't remember who that was. You know what? It must have been an old white guy that said that.
Yeah, it's definitely an old white dude that said something like that. So, you know, and yes, that would be Martin Luther King, Dr. King
Jr.
R.I.P.
Jr.
Yes, R.I.P. And he's the one who said those words, that he would like to be judged by the contents of his character. But you know, now when this commie starts talking about it, the Google's Gemini, you know things are bad.
Do you know anything about the Krasenstein brothers?
Something that they're paid by the Democratic Party. No, wait, are you talking? Oh, I did see something recently.
Well, I mean,
about that maybe
they were really, really big on Twitter in 2016 when you know who was about to get elected president, and they were still on there, and all they would do is just post just the most inane, not liberal. I don't have a problem with liberal, but Democrat platform stuff.
Yeah, they're still like that.
Yeah, it's insulting to anyone with a brain. The fact that people actually listen to what they have to say is ridiculous. The fact that they're following, but I mean, yes, they are paid by the Democratic Party.
100%. They're caught on video saying that.
Yeah.
So for them to come out against Gemini and saying that it does seem racist, it's crazy.
Yeah. But as you and I have discussed, it does seem to be, you know, the pendulum is starting to swing the other direction, and people are really starting to get sick of stuff like this.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
right?
like I remember when Netflix was coming out with that show about, what was it, Cleopatra? No, was it Cleopatra?
Oh yeah, I think it was Cleopatra. Yeah.
They turned her into a black woman, and people were going like, "Well, no, she wasn't black, and she wasn't Egyptian. She was Greek." I mean,
right? Yeah, exactly.
And even Egyptians were saying that. People from the Middle East were saying that, going like, I mean, this is racist. What you guys are doing is racist.
Right,
You know,
you're changing our history.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the kind of stuff people are starting to really turn on now.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget Alexandria is Egypt, that whole region, the Levant and Greece, and that they have very similar cultures and music and food, and
Yeah, the
so
Mediterranean.
she was
I mean,
probably
it's
more Greek than anything else.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, just to lead into AI, which is really taking off. I mean, I'm sure I use it so much now. Yeah,
What's
so
the A
apparently
stand
now,
for?
have you seen Nvidia, like their stock just going through the roof?
Is it skyrocketing right now? No, I
Oh my
haven't.
God, man.
I try not to pay attention to the stock market. I tried to play the stocks several years back when GameStop was the thing. And I
Yeah.
think I made a grand total of $20, but I had to spend like 3 days in a row staring at my phone. Do I buy more? Do I sell? What do I do? It was and I was like at work, just had my phone on and open with watching the line, seeing which way it went. Yeah, it was too much. I couldn't handle it.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, the market can drive you nuts. But Neo, Nvidia's out saying that because their stock went up by 40% last week, by a lot. I mean, which is insane. That they want to invest $7 trillion. Sam Altman is saying, and investors are getting ready. So the problem is this is going to change even the internet, because now the internet is not going to be search engines and websites, and they are creating this investment into changing the infrastructure of just making it AI. I mean, I can't even foresee what it's going to be. Because
you thought the internet was bad. Now just wait until you're arguing with bots even more than you already are.
Exactly. Yeah, and who do they represent? Who's got $7 trillion, people?
Yeah.
You know, who? So who's
Well, I can think of one government somewhere that has a lot of money invested in this. Maybe two governments, in fact.
Yeah, and who's exactly, and they're not going to allow history or knowledge that doesn't agree with their worldview.
Exactly.
Right? So this is like our last chance, I think, for any transparency for humanity.
And I always hate that quote about the slippery slope not being real. People don't realize as they're falling down the cliffside that the slippery slope is very much real.
So the UAE wants to invest, SoftBank, Taiwan Semiconductor. So they'll get the $7 trillion. Yeah, here's UAE again. Like they want to be in there investing in this. Now it makes sense for countries, because I listened to the interview with the Nvidia CEO. I forget his name now, but he was saying that you have that countries, even small countries, can learn to become like, for example, China, by creating the infrastructure for AI, feeding it all this information of how to build industries and and education, and then have the country have access to that AI to then build out those industries. You know what I mean? So even a small country could become a powerhouse. So it's really interesting just hearing this, like how many Chinas or how many different superpowers you could eventually have.
Yeah.
If they have access to this technology. Or a lot of these countries could be left behind with nothing.
I think that's the fear behind a lot of this, is they don't want to be left behind. So that's why they're looking to invest.
Right, which makes sense that UAE wants to put money in this, because they know if oil is not the future and AI is, just put the money in there and make sure we're there.
And then in 20 years, you can blame it on the other party when it goes wrong.
Well, I hope we grow up. I really hope as a nation we grow up. But who knows what's going to happen with this? I mean, if Trump is in, it looks like he's going to be back in, no matter what they do to him. I think they have to kill him.
They're going to try. I'm seeing articles now about how the Democrats can impose the 14th Amendment or some ridiculous thing on him, where he's not allowed to run because he's a convicted felon or something like that.
Dude, that would cause.
They would. Yeah, they thought Jan 6 was bad. I mean, this is going to be that. If they did something like that, oh boy, look out.
So crazy, huh? It's so crazy. And it's not like he wasn't part of them. He's just not really part. I don't know. It confuses me. The whole Trump thing confuses the hell out of me.
It doesn't. It doesn't. I understand why
Yeah.
he got elected in the first place. You know, they were
Right.
really. It was Hillary's turn, and everyone's like, "We're so sick of the Clintons and just the status
Right.
quo." They go, "We want
Yep.
something different."
Exactly.
You know, and then Trump gets in there. They see all of the shit that was thrown his way. I mean, I
Yep.
don't even know what he really truly accomplished. He wasn't the evil,
Hardly anything.
the evil genocidal dictator they thought he was, but they keep
No.
pretending. They keep pretending that he was, and they're
Yeah.
talking about how fascism is on the rise.
Yes.
Their fascism is back if he gets elected. Meanwhile, they're trying to find ways to make sure he legally can't get elected, which is quite literally fascism.
It's projection. They keep blaming everything with the other side, what they do, but they're blaming the other side for it.
Yeah.
So he's Douglas McGregor. He is a ex-military vet. I think he's running for president, maybe. Anyway, he goes, an American army composed of illegal migrants that serves for pay is more dangerous to American liberty than any foreign invading army. Give illegal migrants weapons and the right to vote. They will disarm American citizens and impose dictatorship. If Americans won't join the armed forces to fight, it's because the conflicts after 9/11 made no sense and there was no intention to win. It's time to take the fight in another direction, drain the DC swamp. I mean, he's right about what's happening with the border. Like, why is it open like this?
I'll never understand that. It's quite literally the narcissist prayer. Have you heard that? It's like,
no,
it's not happening. If it is happening, it's not that bad. If it is happening, it's your fault. If it is happening, you deserved it, or something like that.
Right.
I mean, that's what they're doing with the southern border at the moment.
It's so crazy.
And I keep seeing photos online of the Egyptian border and how they're not letting Palestinians in, and everyone's going, well, it's their country. They shouldn't, they should be allowed to say who gets to come in or not. And then you look at those people and you go, you're the same idiot that was telling me we shouldn't have they should tear down the wall on the southern border. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I mean, they catch some Jewish people saying this too about Israel. They talk about open borders for us and for Europe, and then you ask them about Israel, like, oh, well, they need to keep their identity. Like, what?
Exactly. Like, what do you? It's just unreal, man.
It's the same. Yeah, it's the same. Like, it's okay if it happens here, just not over at some places.
It's the not in my backyard thing. You're an expert on everything that's going on around the world, but when it comes to your own backyard, the rules are different.
I mean, let's not forget this country has a founding, has a culture. It does, you know what I mean? And it's obvious that something wants to change its culture.
Yep.
Hopefully it doesn't work. This is our last bastion of freedom. People have been saying that for decades and decades. The U.S. is the last bastion of freedom.
I know. And you're right. I mean,
who else?
It's starting to feel more and more like it's going away. They really don't want that.
Yeah, and you sent me this. We talked about it in the beginning of the show, but WHO Director General Tedros at the World Government Summit. Let me be clear, he says. WHO did not impose anything on anyone during the COVID-19 pandemic. Not lockdowns, not mask mandates, not vaccine mandates. We don't have to. Oh, I'm worried now. This might be because while I'm reading this, I'm like, the only thing that got a video removed from us was because of COVID-19.
Yeah, I know. They're still really sensitive about that. They don't like it when we point out their inaccuracies.
So what is he talking about? Like,
okay. I know I sent this to you. I know we had a good laugh about it. I kind of almost get it. So what he's saying, what he's not saying is that the WHO comes out and they recommend. Exactly. See, that's what it says. They recommend close, wear masks, 6 feet of separation, close down schools and stuff. And the governments are the ones that actually do, are the ones that impose those kind of rules and mandates and stuff. So WHO didn't force anyone, but it's really disingenuous to say that because the WHO knows that they're the world's leader in health. And so if they say, start sneezing in everyone's faces, it's healthy for you, the whole world's going to do that. And so by saying they don't have it, they had no power when it comes to lockdowns and mandates and masks. That's really disingenuous. I mean, he's technically correct. The WHO wasn't going door to door and giving
Right.
people fines for not wearing masks.
Right, and the CDC hides behind the same thing. They used to say, "Oh, we only recommend."
Right.
You know, we're not mandating anything because they know. I mean, at least this country, we have laws against that, and a
Yeah.
culture, against government mandate. Unless you have to prove something. The burden is on the government to prove that these things work. You can't just arbitrarily say 6 feet apart, wear a mask. Whatever crazy stuff. Remember what is it, the plastic shields in front of the cashier?
Yeah.
I mean, like it can't go around and over. Like, what the hell was that all about?
It was so dumb, and it was funny actually. I had a conversation. I was at the DMV recently,
Yeah,
and of course they still have all the plastic up.
they do.
And
Oh,
I'm
God.
leaning. I was talking to the person at the DMV desk, and
Mhm.
we're having trouble hearing each other, so we ended up both ducking under the plastic thing and talking to each other. And we actually even said like, so this is because of COVID. And
Yeah.
I was like, this is because COVID, huh? And she goes, yeah, it's working really well, isn't it? I go, yeah, totally.
That's hilarious.
We both had a
Maybe
good
she
laugh
knows how
about it.
ridiculous it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, politicians. They all deserve what happened to Pelosi, for making us go through COVID.
Yeah.
And he sent me this.
Protesters deliver 300 pounds of poop to Nancy Pelosi's house. And there's really only it was referencing the the Palestine-Israel conflict.
Okay.
And I know you had pointed out what some of the signs had said in Arabic. What's that one say again?
It goes, shit on you, khara aliki, shit on you.
But there's only really one quote. Okay, hold
Oh
on.
yeah, wait, where'd you find
Yeah,
it?
hold on.
Oh yeah,
Let me read that tweet first that you just had up.
this one.
Yeah, just to sum up the thing. Protesters dumped cow poop outside Nancy Pelosi's home in San Francisco today to demand that she stop supporting Israel bombing Gaza. And there's only one quote from the article that's really funny. It's not clear if anyone noticed a difference in the cleanliness of the street.
And look at the picture. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Where'd they get all that?
I mean, that really doesn't even look like that much, to be honest.
Hey, actually, you're right. And there's a tarp here. Like I was just thinking, like, why would they put a tarp? Like just to clean it up
because
easier?
they're trying to be nice. Whoever ends up cleaning it up, it'll be easy to transport. Easier.
Oh, it's Code Pink.
I don't know what Code Pink is.
Code Pink, we've shared her videos. She's one that went after that Congressman Brian, that IDF guy. He's a representative, and she sat there with her hands are all bloody. She holds up her hands, and she's an activist with this, and she'll just Oh, I didn't send this to you. I really want you. We're not gonna watch the whole thing, but okay. So we follow this guy Brian Rommel, and he shares some cool stuff, and he does some really good AI stuff, and he thinks the future of AI is private AI, like not on the cloud, so he's developing these ones, and so people send him things so it can help them with private AIs. So apparently someone sent him these old Soviet research videos on psychics. So he was saying that he has 17 here. He goes, I converted this VCR tape sent to me along with 17 boxes of former Soviet Union research from the grandchildren of a Washington, D.C. based research scientist. Their only request is to use the material as part of a larger local AI. But I want you to see like the capabilities of these guys.
We've had no access to those who seem to possess psychic powers. Powers of telekinesis. Powers of levitation. Powers that seem to defy the laws of nature.
Are people really doing this?
I don't know.
Frontiers of psychic phenomena have also
I mean, it's cool footage, but I have no idea
fake,
if this kind of stuff is real or not.
over individuals and even entire.
Especially at that not level or
Yeah,
you're
no, I know
really
what-
moving it.
Right.
It's not like it's like subtly moving.
I mean,
here she is. Here she is. This one. This lady. It's through a glass thing. Like Oh yeah, that's right. They photograph her. Watch. That's right.
In trying to understand the nature of her ability, researchers applied a Russian invention believed to record human auras, a technique called Kirlian photography.
They were interesting experiments made by physicists using Kirlian photography. And they took pictures of my fingers before I began to work, and then again after I finished, and the photographs of the fingers.
Did you see that? Like, look
Yeah,
at those
wow.
things. But what is this? What is this process of taking pictures? Like, it could be fake, even.
Yeah,
Like, it's Russians.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows, man?
We don't know.
But I mean, that's the thing is the CIA had a very big interest in telekinesis and using mind powers and all that. I mean, look at who was the guy who talked? They asked him to look at Mars with his brain.
Yeah. Yeah. The
I mean,
remote
so it's
viewer,
not completely unprecedented, but this, yeah, like this kind of shit. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
Like, are they doing a psyop for again?
That's
for the
see that, and that's
the
my
CIA
thought
can
too.
see it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
To scare the CIA, like, oh, look what we have. We
Yeah.
have people that
Exactly.
can do this kind of stuff.
That's my first thought.
So
Who knows, man?
What is this like a? Anyway, I haven't watched this in its entirety, but I really want to. So
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sit down and watch this. This is really interesting stuff.
look what she's doing. I mean, okay, it is metal. That's a metal cigar thing.
So yeah, but like she was moving a cigarette. I guess they could like pack the cigarette with
metal,
some
yeah,
sort of
shake it.
metal, and then
Mhm.
she's got a magnet on her hand somewhere.
Yeah, it just reacts too close to a magnet. It just does.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Very interesting stuff, but yeah, it's most likely a psyop.
All right, so you sent me this today. I didn't even see this.
Oh, this is embarrassing.
So wait, is there a link to the actual video? Is this it?
I believe so.
This is the
Yeah.
video. Oh, so wait, let's click into here. Oh, yeah, here it is. All right, so wait, what's going on here? Should I play it? Is there?
I feel
audio?
like just play it and we could do commentary on it. I don't know if there's there's any way to set this up. It's a police chase, and it's just a comedy of errors by the cops who cannot.
But it's the same thing, right? Yeah.
Anything. It's all one chase shown from about 12 different angles. The cops. I even think that's the cop's dog. It is. The
Who's this? Who's that car?
I have no idea. It's one of the cops. These cops crash into each other.
Crashed into each other. What is wrong with them?
They're idiots. Yeah, look,
Oh.
this guy drives over something. They're chasing this guy. They look. They're driving oncoming traffic. They're all over the place, and they're just trying to catch this guy who crashed his car.
Is he like laughing his ass off?
I don't
Look where the dog
I don't know
went.
the story behind this.
Did
Oh
you
my
see-
god.
Did you see what
Yeah.
the dog's doing?
Their own dog attacks them, and then once they've got a handcuff, the dog attacks the guy on the ground. I mean, it's just the guy has given up. He's given up. He's
Yeah.
standing in the middle of
He's
the
like,
road.
"All right,
He
I'm done.
Hands
I'm
up.
done."
He's got his hands up, and the cop just full on tackles him with a forearm to the face.
Oh, look at the dog. He doesn't even care. Oh man, that's hilarious, dude. That is one funny car chase.
Yeah,
Wow. I'd love to see if there's any context.
I know. Hopefully, if you scroll down, maybe there's a story attached someplace.
That dog is chaotically worthless. I love every second of it. Yes.
Yeah.
He did attack one of the cops. Blah,
Yep.
blah, blah. Yeah, the dog was that is hilarious, man. The dog was the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah. Anyway,
Just happily.
yeah. Dog's just having a time of his life, biting his own handlers. Now this is great. Now this is a new subreddit I found accidentally. It's called
Genius.
Chat GPT. I think it. Hold on. Increasingly becomes X.
Oh yeah. So this was an average day of an American.
So basically, these people put in, something for the AI to process, and it slowly becomes more and more something throughout the album. This one's really funny. An average day of American, but it's funny because it kind of tells the story. of this guy, a big fat guy, drives a PT Cruiser. He hears about the Mona Lisa being stolen. He goes to buy medicine. If you look at this, he buys chewing tobacco and heart pressure medication
at the same time.
He goes to his job at Walmart, and obviously he's just nothing there. There's kids playing around as he's trying to work. He sees again the Mona Lisa has been stolen.
Oh, yeah. That's all he's seeing on the TV.
Yeah,
the wrong way.
He's going the wrong way on the road. The one where he buys he goes to vote, of course.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter.
The one where he buys a plane ticket with he buys a plane ticket with a chicken. And then he's on he's got the middle seat on a plane, but he ends up, it doesn't matter. There's this whole story. He goes to France. He steals he's got guns on his hip. He steals the Mona Lisa back and brings it back to America with around, like, people are cheering him once he gets off the plane. It's just, it's goofy stuff, but this was a lot of fun. Yeah, people, see everyone's cheering, happy.
Yeah, you brought it back.
He's out eating a cheeseburger with the Mona Lisa, and then he's on Reddit with the Mona Lisa behind him. Yeah, it's so dumb, but this kind of stuff's really fun. The one with the dog. Oh, I sent this one to you too. This is really good.
Cracked me up so hard,
a man reunites with his wife or wives in heaven. And he's slowly, you see this guy, his soul is leaving his body, shows up into heaven, and it seems to be a happy reunion with his wife. And then slowly but surely more and more wives keep showing up, and he's trying to escape, and he can't just because there's so many wives, and he ends up going to hell. He's just,
look at his face.
There's just tons of them, just tons of wives. He's running away.
He's running away from them.
They're all yelling at him. He can't get away.
It's all burning to hell.
Yeah.
And they carried him your personal hell.
Yeah.
And then there's this one.
This is my favorite one. Dog becomes increasingly well trained and starts off, normal stuff, training your dog to sit. The dog's running through obstacles. Keep going. The dog's on a leash, jumping over stuff, and then the dog learns karate, becomes karate master. Runs the karate. He is the master of the dojo. He's competing in world arts tournaments. He becomes like the head of the world because he knows karate, and then he becomes some sort of warrior, leader person.
Yeah, the warrior
fights against the aliens, and he's the last one standing. The aliens take him in and teach him how to fly a spaceship, and then of course the dog meets God.
Yeah,
and then becomes God. The dog has obviously a bunch of space adventures.
Dude, this is so funny. So
it's just the progression of something that's seemingly normal into something that's just
there is God.
Crazy. Yeah, the dog meets God, and then hangs out with God, and then eventually becomes God. Yeah, God is looking up the dog.
That's the end. It becomes God. Look at God just looking.
Yeah, great
stuff. That is brilliant.
Nice.
That's really brilliant.
Nice.
Did you see this one? This parody of Zelensky?
I haven't. No.
It's a rap.
Oh boy.
It's not that long. 30 seconds.
Hey, slaughter your God. Bitch ass Putin.
Bitch ass
I will
Putin.
laugh the last laugh. Donbass and Crimea will be mine. And this is brought to you by Pfizer. You don't want it, Vlad. It's me, Zelensky. Yo. Hello, it is me, Zelensky. Too much cocaine is in me. I need Dr. Trupinski. Russia, you will never get me. It's too risky. I like drugs and I like a good whiskey. And I'm riding with Biden, dick in my butt and it's hiding. I done got in the game. And it's Slava, Ukraine. I got me cocaine in case nukes drop from the plane. To Putin, I'll be shooting. The drugs in my butt, I'll be boofing. Central bank, I'll be looting. But soon I'll be moving. I fight like I'm bass rooting. Why you mad, Putin? It be my core theme. I snort morphine and blow up the Nord Stream. I'm working, it's no days off. And I love the A's off. I'm made off. But Putin, here the age off. In war, I got the best advisor. My war attack is going cyber. And I am brought to you by Pfizer. I am brought to you by Pfizer. I am brought to you by Pfizer. I am brought to you by BlackRock. I am brought to you by BlackRock. I am brought to you by Pfizer. I am brought to you by Pfizer. I am brought to you by BlackRock. I am brought to you by BlackRock.
Brought to you by Pfizer.
Black helicopters, ladies and gentlemen.
Like helicopters, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh man.
Oh, dude. So yeah, are we gonna do Topher's? movie
Yeah,
corner?
actually, you know what? I came prepared today.
Nice.
We were speaking of Lovecraft earlier, but there's another author whose
Yeah.
name I can't remember who did a bunch
Keel?
of really good sci-fi horror back in the 60s and 70s, where I think his heyday. But have you ever heard the short story I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream?
No.
It is very, very, very depressing and sad and scary.
That reminds me of The Matrix when Neo.
No. This is beyond the Matrix, but it's kind of a similar theme, I suppose. It is about AI taking over the world. It's about the last 5 humans on Earth in a world that has gone through the apocalypse due to an AI taking over. So I suppose.
Have you ever watched Brazil?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, that's kind of depressing too.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I highly recommend reading or listening if you find it on YouTube. It's the whole book is about 40 minutes on YouTube. So it's not long.
Okay.
It's called
What's
I
it
Have
called
No
again?
Mouth. I have no mouth
I
and
have
I
no
must.
mouth.
I have no
Okay.
mouth and I must scream.
Okay.
But anyway, he wrote another book that turned into a movie, which I watched, called A Boy and His Dog. Also, it's about, you'll guess it, a boy and his dog surviving after the apocalypse.
Interesting.
And it's also, again, very depressing and sad and strange.
Oh
but
man, is
very,
there any silver linings in these books or movies?
the boy and his dog have a really strong connection, kind of.
Okay.
Yeah. And the
All
dog is psychic.
Ooh.
Anyway, it's weird, but it's really good. Another one that I watched that I think you might like is called Project Ithaca on Amazon.
Okay.
That is about alien abduction.
Oh, here we go. Ithaca.
Project Ithaca.
And it's on Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
Ooh.
It's not like Hollywood, like AAA. It's not going to win any Oscars. It's a solid B movie, but there's a lot of themes and stuff in there that you especially, I know, will find very interesting and
Dude,
fun.
I'll watch it tonight since I have time.
Yeah, it's good, and there's a lot of really good tie-ins with stuff we've talked about before on the show, and
nice,
and particularly when it comes to the aliens and what they want and things like that.
Very cool.
Yeah,
I'll check it out. Definitely check it out.
But also listen to I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. It's so dark. It is so dark.
Oh man! All right, so I'll listen to that before going to sleep. Then.
Oh, perfect. That's actually what I did the other night. Not gonna lie. Because I had watched the movie and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. I was like, oh my god, this because I'd heard of the book before because it inspired a lot of people. And I was like, you know what? I didn't realize it was a short story. I'm just gonna see if I can find it. And sure enough, I did. I found it on YouTube, and I put it on before I went to sleep, and I didn't sleep because it was so good.
Crazy how many short stories do that, or how much can be packed into a short story, like what concepts and ideas.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
And you'll like it, I think, a lot.
All right, awesome.
Yeah, you'll see. It doesn't like, it's a short story, so it doesn't take long to get into it. It just starts right off the bat that it's interesting.
My mouth is closed.
No, I have no mouth.
I must scream. Oh,
I have no mouth and I must scream.
I have no mouth and I must. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool.
But yeah, that is Topher's Media Corner for this week. I'm keep going back and forth if I want to full spin it off into its own podcast.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's just 20-30 minutes, it could be just something that you do and expand on. You could start out here and then expand over there.
Yeah, that's likely what'll happen.
Yeah, awesome.
Anyway, that's it for that. This has been episode 60. Woo woo.
Yes, we're at 60.
We're almost old enough to retire.
We're almost old enough to retire, and we still haven't made a penny.
Yep, exactly. Yep. This
so
has
we're
been
not grifters, guys, at all.
We haven't sold out. Once you start hearing things like, "Hey, buy our book," that's when you'll know, listener.
Right, come to our event. We are exactly, or we're streaming live, but you got to pay $1.99.
Yeah, we'll say stuff like, "Well, we really get deep into this in our VIP episode that you have to pay for. So go ahead and check that out.
Yeah. A lot of guys do that. I actually pay for some guys that do that.
Oh man, that's
but-
on you, bud.
But you know, like the higher side chats, you know, it's an hour for free, but if you want the 2 hours, you got to pay.
You gotta pay the man.
Yeah, exactly, which is fine, you know. I mean, we have to support alternative media. We have to support people that we love, you know, or people that we think really bring value to our lives. So if you guys believe that, then you know, make sure to give us some support. It's on every single episode we do. We have the link to that, so feel free to buy us a cup of coffee a month or something.
And down the road, you know, if we're making enough money to do this full time, we really will start doing 2-3 episodes a week, or just talking about individual stories as they come out, because we'll have the time.
Exactly, we'll have the time to expand. We'll have the time to research, really to do production, you know, things like that. I think at our shoestring budget and time, it's a pretty entertaining show. I think we bring a lot of value. People really, I mean, every week we have hundreds of listeners every week. You know, on a month, no, it's in the thousands, but still, I mean, obviously, we bring a lot of value. It's a great update for the UFO, UAP, and you know, issues in general for that week.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, not all of us have time to listen to interviews with Sheehan, but dude, that's such a crazy interview. If there's this one, this one that you come out of this interview with, is go listen to that interview with Danny Sheehan, and I'd love to bring him on the show. We might have a good chance, by the way, because of this new initiative that they have with the grassroots efforts.
That would be a lot of fun.
Wouldn't it? Just, you know, 30 minutes, just ask him questions, you know.
I would let you take the lead on that. I'd feel like such an idiot. I'd say,
but I'm sure you have questions you want to ask him, because he's been through so much, you know.
I'd ask him how he kept his hair that great for so long.
And how is he protected? Does he have like a security team? I mean, the stuff he was saying. Just calling these CIA guys murderers.
That's bold. Yeah, I'd ask him how, you know, how his balls fit in his pants when they're that big.
But and it might be because he's part of the Jesuit order, or at least he represents them. Like, you don't want to mess with the Jesuits. They're known.
And just like the Spanish Inquisition, you'll never expect them.
So follow us on Twitter at UAP the podcast, and we're on YouTube at Uncovering Anomalies podcast, and Rumble. Oh wait, that a lot of episodes really took off there, by the way, Topher, like 300, cool. 400. Yeah. So we're at Rumble at UAP podcast, and then on all of most major podcasting platforms at Uncovering Anomalies podcast. So hit us up, let us know how we're doing, give us some feedback, anything that you want us to cover, you know, let us know. We'll do our best.
And please, if you have been abducted by aliens or black bagged by the CIA, you reach out. You tell us here. Tell us here first before anyone else. Don't go to the cops. Don't tell your mom and dad. Don't tell your wife or husband. You come to us. You tell us about your alien abduction experience.
I mean, yeah, especially if you think no one wants to hear your story.
We do.
Yeah, exactly.
We absolutely do.
We're not going to judge. We're going to ask you the right questions. We're going to make you feel welcome. You're in a safe space here.
And I promise not to ask too mmany questions about anal probes.
And if they felt good or not.
Yeah. We'll just leave that one a secret. Wink.
That one will be the premium content.
Yeah, that'll go.
That one.
Yeah, that'll be our premium podcast episode that it's only 10 seconds long. It's just, did it feel good? Yeah. And then that's it. That's the whole episode.
That's it. Thank you for the $1.99. Yeah.
All right. As always, that is I Want to Believe Adam. I am Topher 2x4. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you all next week.
Woo!
Yeehaw.